There is nothing selfish about abundance. There is nothing unholy about wealth. There is nothing sinful in desiring a full, beautiful, and prosperous life, for life itself is the expression of God's abundance. Every soul was born rich, rich in potential, rich in purpose, rich in divine inheritance. But the world has taught many to believe that money is evil, that comfort is pride, and that prosperity is for a chosen few. That is a lie of limitation, and I break it now with the truth. It is right for me to be rich. Not from greed, not from vanity, but from divine law, because life seeks full expression, and God's life through me seeks to express as prosperity, peace, and joy. When I withhold my good, I deny the flow of God. When I embrace my good, I allow the river of divine substance to flow freely through me. There is no virtue in poverty. There is no holiness in lack. Lack is not of God, it is the shadow that falls when faith is forgotten. So today I remember, God is my supply. God is my abundance. God is my prosperity in action. The same intelligence that made the stars and oceans designed me for increase, not for struggle. Every living thing grows, expands, and expresses more life. The tree stretches toward the Sunday. The river runs toward the sea. And I, too, am created to advance, to rise, to prosper, to shine. I affirm, I am one with infinite substance. Riches flow to me easily and in perfect order. What is mine by divine right cannot miss me. All that I desire already exists in the unseen, waiting for my faith to claim it. I do not chase prosperity. I recognize it as my divine inheritance. I do not beg for blessings. I align with them by thought and word. When I speak prosperity, prosperity listens. When I think abundance, abundance awakens. When I walk in gratitude, doors open of their own accord. God's plan for me includes everything: good comfort, beauty, money, freedom, and peace. To deny that is to deny the Creator's generosity. So I no longer apologize for wanting more. I no longer shrink from my vision of wealth. I no longer call struggle holy. I call freedom holy. I call growth holy. I call increase holy. Because God is not poverty. God is increase. God is progress. God is expansion. God is ever-giving life. Every time I think a thought of prosperity, I open a channel for God to work through me. Every time I give thanks for what I have, I make space for more to come. And every time I help others rise, I multiply my own blessings, because divine supply flows where it can bless many. There is no limit in divine mind. There is no ceiling in infinite supply. There is no shortage in spirit, only in thought. And today, I think the thoughts of wealth. I do not look to man for my prosperity. I look to God within me. People and opportunities are channels, not sources. The source is infinite. The channels are many. When one closes, another opens instantly, perfectly, under grace. No door can remain shut to the one who walks by faith. No blessing can be delayed to the one who thinks in truth. Every desire for wealth is the voice of God within me saying, grow. Every dream of abundance is the divine blueprint calling me into expression. Every need that rises is the evidence that supply already exists. I live by the law of abundance, not by the law of fear. Fear says, there isn't enough. Faith says, there is always more. Fear clings to the visible. Faith trusts the invisible. And so, I live by faith. I speak the word of increase. I expect miracles. Because what I expect, I attract. What I praise, I multiply. What I love, I magnetize. The world says, work harder. Spirit says, believe deeper. The world says, save everything. Spirit says, trust in divine circulation. The world says, compete. Spirit says, create. And I choose creation the divine way. I am rich because I was created by a rich creator. I am abundant because I live in an abundant universe. I am prosperous because I think prosperous thoughts. Every word I speak sends ripples through the substance of the universe, and that substance responds to me, forming my reality. If I say, I can't afford, the universe agrees. If I say, God provides, the universe agrees. So I speak increase. I speak overflow. I speak divine timing. I speak prosperity into form. Today, I remember my divine right to be rich in love, rich in peace, rich in opportunities, rich in wisdom, rich in every good thing. I am no longer ashamed of my good. I am no longer afraid of abundance. I am no longer apologizing for success. For as I rise in divine order, I lift others with me. My wealth blesses many. My prosperity brings peace. My abundance glorifies God. And so I declare with faith, power, and peace. It is right for me to be rich. Not by greed, but by divine law. Not by struggle, but by grace. Not someday, but now. I am in harmony with infinite supply. I am surrounded by opportunities. I am guided by divine intelligence. And I move in perfect order toward my greatest good. All that I seek is already seeking me. All that I desire already exists. All that I imagine is already forming here, now, under grace, in perfect ways. I am rich in spirit, and therefore rich in substance. I am rich in mind, and therefore rich in manifestation. I am rich in gratitude, and therefore rich in life. I live, move, and breathe in the prosperity of God. And it is done. It is done. It is done. There is a divine law that governs all creation. It is exact, unfailing, eternal. It never sleeps, it never forgets, it never delays. It is the law by which thought becomes thing and faith becomes form. God's universe is not chaos, it is order. It is substance, obedient to the spoken word. The moment you think with faith, the invisible begins to arrange itself to bless you. The moment you speak in confidence, the formless substance begins to take shape. I affirm now, there is only one power, one presence, one source God, the infinite supply. My faith molds this invisible substance into visible abundance. Faith is the hand that draws from the unseen. Faith is the law in motion. Faith is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. When I say, I believe, I activate the creative currents of heaven. When I doubt, I interrupt them. So today, I keep my faith steady and my words pure. I no longer wonder how things will happen. I simply know that they are happening. For the divine plan is perfect, and it unfolds for me now, in right order, under grace. I do not force. I do not hurry. I do not worry. I allow. For allowing is faith resting in divine intelligence. When I look at appearances and declare lack, I block the flow. When I look at appearances and declare abundance, I restore it. Therefore, I see plenty where others see shortage, and I speak increase where others speak fear. For my words are creative law. What I decree in faith must appear. I affirm. The invisible substance of God is taking form as my supply. Money is God in action, flowing freely to bless and circulate. Every need is already supplied, every door already open. Faith turns the unseen into the seen. It calls the thing that is not as though it were, and then it becomes. There is no delay in divine mind, only the speed of my acceptance. When I believe quickly, I receive quickly. When I hesitate, I postpone my own miracle. So I believe now. I receive now. I give thanks now. I am not waiting on God. God is waiting on me, waiting for my faith to rise high enough to match my good. Each day I speak the word. Let there be supply. Let there be opportunity. Let there be increase. And it is so. The universe rushes to obey a confident voice. Heaven delights in the soul that trusts. Faith is not hard work. It is holy rest. It is knowing that what I have asked for is already prepared. It is walking in peace while the unseen arranges itself into form. I walk by faith, not by sight. I speak life, not limitation. I declare divine order, not confusion. Every bill that appears is a signal that more supply is on its way. Every delay is divine timing perfecting the outcome. Every challenge is the opportunity for faith to prove itself. I will not let appearances deceive me. I will not let fear distract me. For the law is sure, and the law is good. I rest in the certainty that what is mine by divine right cannot be lost, cannot be delayed, cannot be taken. It is safe in God's keeping until I am ready to receive it. I affirm, I am rich in faith, and therefore rich in results. The substance of wealth moves toward me through every channel of good. Divine order governs my finances, my work, my path. The same law that grows the stars guides my prosperity. The same wisdom that orchestrates the tides orchestrates my success. Therefore, I am calm, I am sure, I am prosperous. I no longer struggle to make things happen. I speak, and it happens. I believe, and it appears. I thank, and it multiplies. Because faith is not hoping, faith is knowing. Knowing that every word spoken in truth moves heaven and earth to fulfill it. So I think only truth. I speak only increase. I expect only good. And the law responds exactly as I believe. The formless substance loves faith. It rushes to fill every mold of confident thought. It delights in certainty. It mirrors conviction. Therefore, my mind is steadfast, my words are firm, my heart is grateful. And the wealth that already exists for me begins to unfold in divine sequence. People, ideas, opportunities, all aligned in perfect timing. I am one with the law of wealth. I am one with the mind of God. I am one with the rhythm of prosperity. All that I need now appears. All that I desire now manifests. All that I imagine now becomes visible, tangible, and complete under grace and in perfect ways. For faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not yet seen. And my faith is unshakable. My supply is unstoppable. My prosperity is inevitable. It is done. It is done. It is done. Every word you speak is alive. Every word carries vibration. Every word, when spoken in faith, moves through the unseen and calls substance into form. There are no idle words in the kingdom of God. Your voice is the wand of creation. Your decree is the command of spirit. Your speech is the invisible architecture of your destiny. So speak life, and life answers. Speak wealth, and wealth appears. Speak love, and love surrounds you. The universe hears not your wishes, it hears your words. It listens not to your fear, it listens to your faith. You are not a beggar, you are a creator. You do not plead with the universe, you command it in love, in faith, in truth. I affirm now, every word I speak builds the world I live in. I speak increase, I speak peace, I speak plenty. My voice is the voice of divine power, and it does not return void. Every word you speak impresses the invisible substance around you. When you say, I can't, the substance closes. When you say, I can, the substance expands. When you say, I am rich, the substance begins to form riches around you. For your word is the vibration of your belief. You are surrounded by a sea of living energy, the divine substance that hears and obeys your voice. This is why Florence said, your word is your wand. You need not force the outcome. You need only speak the word with faith and gratitude, and the invisible law sets it into motion. So I speak now. Let there be abundance in my home. Let there be expansion in my work. Let there be prosperity in my path. And so it is. The tongue that blesses cannot curse. The voice that praises cannot fear. Therefore, I speak only of what I desire, never of what I dread. I do not repeat words of worry. I do not echo the world's fear. I speak as God speaks with authority, love, and certainty. For I am made in the image of the Creator, and the Creator spoke worlds into being. And if I am one with that power, then every word I speak has creative force. I no longer say, I can't afford. I say, divine supply meets every demand. I no longer say, I'm waiting for my opportunity. I say, divine order now directs my perfect opportunity to me. I no longer say, things are getting worse. I say, every day in every way, my life expands in beauty and abundance. My words are no longer casual, they are sacred. I no longer gossip, complain, or fear aloud, for I know that to speak it is to seed it. Instead, I use my voice to shape heaven into earth. I bless my finances and they grow. I bless my work and it prospers. I bless others and I am blessed in return. Because the law is simple. What you bless increases. What you curse contracts. Therefore, I bless everything that concerns me. I bless the money in my hands. I bless the work before me. I bless the people around me. I bless the opportunities unseen. For as I bless, I rise. And as I rise, the world rises with me. Words spoken in fear bind you to fear. Words spoken in faith free you from limitation. If you have spoken wrongly, speak again, speak truth, and the wrong word is dissolved. The moment you say, I am now guided by divine intelligence, every false idea begins to fall away. When you say, I am supplied from the infinite source, every appearance of lack begins to fade. When you say, I am open and receptive to miracles, the invisible prepares to manifest the impossible. Speak, and you shall see. For the spoken word is the seed of form. Even the smallest word, when spoken with belief, becomes law in your life. One yes in faith can undo 1,000 no's of doubt. One declaration of abundance can erase years of limitation. So I say, I am prosperous now. I am supplied now. I am guided now. I am rich in every area of life now. And the universe, being obedient to faith, says, yes. The voice of fear whispers, be careful. The voice of faith declares, be confident. The voice of lack says, there isn't enough. The voice of truth says, all that I need is here and now. I choose the voice of truth. I let no idle words escape my lips. Every sentence I speak carries the signature of divine creation. When I speak in love, the law acts in love. When I speak in confidence, the law acts with precision. When I speak in gratitude, the law acts with grace. I need not shout. I need not struggle. I need not repeat endlessly. For one word spoken in pure faith is more powerful than 1,000 spoken in fear. Let my speech be sacred. Let my words be wrapped in truth. Let my decrees be firm, loving, and filled with light. Then all that I decree shall be established unto me, and light shall shine upon my path. I close this section with Florence's own rhythm of affirmation. I speak the word of wealth, and wealth obeys. I speak the word of peace, and peace surrounds. I speak the word of success, and success manifests. I speak the word of joy, and joy overflows. I speak the word of divine order, and everything falls into perfect place. For my voice is not small. My word is not empty. My decree is not forgotten. It moves the substance of the universe. It calls heaven to earth. It is the power of creation in my mouth. Therefore, I speak wisely, joyfully, and boldly. And all that I decree by divine law now appears. It is done. It is sealed. It is manifest now, under grace, in perfect ways. Faith that only thinks is a seed asleep. Faith that acts is a seed in bloom. Divine mind never asks me to rush. It simply whispers, go now, and the path lights beneath my feet. When Spirit says move, I move without fear, without question, without delay, for obedience is the shortest road to miracles. I affirm. Every action I take is directed by divine intelligence. I am always in the right place, at the right time, doing the right thing. I do not push. I allow. I do not guess. I listen. For the same power that created galaxies also directs my smallest step. When the world says, "Wait until you see the way," Spirit says, "Step, and the way will appear." I step, and it appears. I act only when peace leads me. For peace is the password of divine order. If confusion shouts, I become still. I wait until the still small voice within me says, "Now." And when it says, "Now," I rise calm, certain, unstoppable. Every inspired action carries the whole weight of heaven behind it. One act done under divine direction is worth 1,000 done in human worry. So I move without haste and without hesitation. I act when guided and rest when told. I trust the rhythm of my own divine timing. When I work in fear, I dig holes in sand. When I work in faith, I build upon rock. Therefore, I do all things under grace easily, lovingly, efficiently. I say, Spirit goes before me to prepare my way. The path of my good is made straight and clear. Every detail is handled by infinite intelligence. I do not act to prove myself. I act to express God through me. I do not strive to control. I surrender to divine control. Each day I ask, Spirit, what would you have me do? And when the answer comes, sometimes as a nudge, sometimes as a dream, sometimes as peace, I obey. I send the letter. I make the call. I forgive the debt. I plant the seed. I walk through the open door. And every obedient act multiplies my blessings, for divine guidance followed is divine increase received. Action under divine guidance is never hurried. It is poised, perfect, and productive. I may seem to move slowly, yet every step brings me exactly where I must be. When I act with love, the universe cooperates. When I act with faith, doors swing open of their own accord. When I act with gratitude, my work becomes worship. Therefore, every task becomes holy. Cooking, writing, speaking, creating, all are instruments of abundance when done in obedience and joy. The law of action is simple. Act when you are inspired, rest when you are uncertain. For inspiration is God's green light, and confusion is the yellow that says, pause. I no longer act from fear of missing out, I act from faith of being guided. If ever doubt whispers, what if you fail? I answer, divine mind cannot fail. If fear says, what if it doesn't work? I reply, it already works in unseen ways. Then I take another step, confident, calm, expectant. I affirm again. Every inspired action prospers me. Nothing I do in faith is wasted. Every obedient movement multiplies my good. For God cannot lead me wrong. Each instruction I follow unfolds the next. Each door I enter opens another. I live in a divine sequence of perfect unfoldment. I act with joy. I act with certainty. I act with grace. Even small actions, done in obedience, release great results. A gentle word brings reconciliation. A simple idea becomes a fortune. A single act of generosity opens a floodgate of supply. There is no competition in divine action, only cooperation. As I obey, others are guided to obey with me. Together, we weave the pattern of prosperity designed by the infinite planner. So I move in faith and rest in peace. I know that every true impulse within me is divine instruction. I am never behind schedule, never too early, never too late. I live in divine timing, always on time in God's time. I am the calm doer, not the anxious struggler. I am the inspired vessel, not the desperate worker. I act with precision, and my results appear with perfection. All that I do prospers. All that I touch succeeds. All that I begin completes itself in joy. For I no longer act from human will, I act from divine direction. And divine direction never fails. It is done. It is sealed. It is manifest now under grace, in perfect ways. Gratitude turns the invisible into the visible. It is not a feeling you wait for, it is a vibration you choose. It is the acknowledgement that good is already yours, even before your eyes behold it. The grateful heart never lives in lack. It lives in the continual awareness that all is well, and all is coming. When I wake, I say, "Thank you, Infinite Spirit, for this new day of increase and joy." When I receive, I say, "Thank you, for this blessing multiplies itself through me." When I wait, I say, "Thank you, for unseen forces are arranging everything for my good." Gratitude is not an afterthought, it is a creative force. It opens channels that effort alone can never reach. A heart in gratitude is a magnet for continuous supply. What you thank expands. What you appreciate multiplies. What you bless becomes more. Even when appearances seem small, gratitude sees the seed of greatness within them. It whispers, "This too shall prosper." And by that whisper, the seed grows into a forest of blessing. So I give thanks not because everything is perfect, but because perfection is being revealed through everything. I affirm, I am thankful before I see. I am grateful before I receive. Every breath I take draws in more good. Gratitude keeps me connected to Source. It tunes my vibration to prosperity. It tells the universe, I am ready for more. Faith, the bridge between thought and thing. Faith is the spiritual eyesight that sees what the physical cannot. It is the inner conviction that God's promise is already fulfilled. It does not question, it knows. It does not beg, it expects. When appearances contradict my prayer, faith says, it is already done. When time seems long, faith says, it is arriving in perfect sequence. When fear whispers, what if? Faith answers, God never fails. Faith is the spiritual law in action, the bridge between the idea and its form. It is invisible but unbreakable. I affirm, I have perfect faith in divine law. What I desire is already complete in spirit. I walk in assurance that my word is law. Faith does not depend on logic. It depends on divine law, which never changes. It is stronger than conditions, louder than doubt, and greater than delay. Faith speaks when the evidence is silent. Faith acts when the path is unseen. Faith thanks before the manifestation. I no longer measure my progress by what I see. I measure it by what I know, and I know that God is always working on my behalf. Every step I take in faith shortens the distance between desire and manifestation. For when I believe, I receive, and belief is the switch that turns on divine supply. Purpose, the golden compass of prosperity. Purpose gives direction to faith. It focuses the light of gratitude. It transforms vague wishing into clear intention. Without purpose, thought drifts like mist. With purpose, it becomes a laser of creation. My purpose is not selfish gain, it is divine expression. I am here to reflect God's abundance through the work of my hands, the love of my heart, and the faith of my words. I affirm, I know what I am here to do, and I do it joyfully. My purpose blesses the world and prospers me. Every idea I receive serves both spirit and man. Purpose keeps me steady when appearances shake. It holds me to truth when distractions call. It reminds me that wealth without purpose is hollow. But purpose filled with God becomes an endless source of supply. When I live in purpose, I do not chase, I attract. I do not fear, I flow. I do not strive, I serve. My purpose is guided by divine intelligence, and it always leads to abundance, for the universe funds what it creates. I no longer ask, what do I want? I ask, what does God want to express through me? And as soon as I ask, the answer comes clear, luminous, unmistakable. Gratitude opens the door. Faith walks through it. Purpose shows where to go. These three are the Trinity of manifestation. Gratitude keeps me in harmony with supply. Faith connects me with the power that fulfills. Purpose directs the current toward the highest good. Together, they make me a living magnet of miracles. So today I live in the rhythm of the Trinity. I thank before I see. I believe before I receive. I act before I understand, and the universe rushes to meet me halfway. I no longer wait for proof, I become proof. I no longer hope for blessings, I radiate blessings. I no longer seek signs, I am the sign. For gratitude, faith, and purpose make me one with the infinite. They turn my heart into a magnet, my mind into a channel, and my life into an example of divine abundance. It is done. It is sealed. It is manifest now, under grace, in perfect ways. There is no competition in spirit. There is only creation. The moment I compete, I fall out of divine order. The moment I create, I rise into divine flow. I do not struggle for what others have, for what is mine by divine right can never be taken, delayed, or denied. The law of supply is infinite, and it provides for every soul according to their faith and vibration. I affirm, I create through peace, not pressure. I prosper by divine ideas, not by competition. My supply is as endless as God's love. When I live in fear of lack, I cut myself off from infinite circulation. When I live in faith, I move with the current of divine abundance. There is no rivalry in truth. Every person's success adds to the success of all. The universe is expanding, not shrinking. Therefore, there is no need to take, only to receive, to express, and to create. Many live by the law of struggle. They believe they must fight to survive, push to succeed, and take before they are taken from. But in God's universe, nothing is stolen. Everything is shared through divine order. The flower does not compete with the tree beside it. The sun does not fight the moon for its place in the sky. Each fulfills its purpose in harmony, and so must I. When I create from divine inspiration, I never interfere with another's good. My success blesses, never deprives. My increase multiplies, never divides. I now move from the plane of fear to the plane of faith. I no longer chase, I attract. I no longer grasp, I give. I no longer compare, I create. For competition is the voice of lack saying, there isn't enough. Creation is the voice of spirit saying, there is more than enough. Every time I create something useful, beautiful, or uplifting, I expand the universe itself. I become a vessel of God's ideas, and those ideas become wealth for all. The artist, the teacher, the entrepreneur, the mother, the dreamer, all are creators in the field of divine mind. Each receives unique ideas from the infinite, and through those ideas, new channels of prosperity open. So I no longer envy others. I bless them. For their success proves that God is active. And if God is active for them, God is active for me. I affirm, there is no competition in my world. All flows from the same source. I celebrate others' blessings, for they multiply my own. Every act of creation increases the total good. The competitive mind says, there's not enough room. The creative mind says, there is infinite space for divine expression. The competitive mind rushes to be first. The creative mind knows that divine order never misses timing. When I work in fear, I hurry and exhaust myself. When I work in spirit, I move with divine precision, and all unfolds easily. I am not in competition with anyone, not even with myself. I am in cooperation with the infinite. As I create from love, peace, and service, my prosperity becomes inevitable. What I give returns, multiplied. What I bless expands beyond measure. What I share circulates and comes back, pressed down and running over. I live now by the law of divine circulation, the eternal movement of giving and receiving. As I send forth beauty, wisdom, and truth, the universe returns them to me as money, opportunity, and favor. There is no limit in divine substance, only the limits we imagine. So I imagine no boundaries. I see only expansion. I feel only abundance. I think only increase. I do not compete for clients, divine right clients seek me. I do not chase success, success follows me. I do not fear others rise, for as they ascend, the vibration of the whole world lifts higher. Every good I do blesses the whole, and the whole returns it to me multiplied. This is the law of creation. This is the way of peace. I no longer operate by anxiety, deadlines, or rivalry. I operate by inspiration, intuition, and divine timing. My supply is infinite because my source is infinite. My opportunities are endless because my ideas come from the one mind that never runs out. If ever the thought of competition tempts me, I remind myself, there is enough for all. My good is unique, perfect, and divinely appointed. No one can take what is mine, and I cannot miss what is meant for me. I choose creation over comparison. I choose cooperation over competition. I choose peace over pressure. For in peace, God speaks. And when God speaks, creation happens. Therefore, I move now in perfect assurance. Every inspired idea I act upon blesses others and enriches me. Every divine plan I follow expands life for all. Every word I speak in truth multiplies good in the world. I am a creator, not a competitor. I am a giver, not a grabber. I am a channel of increase, not a vessel of fear. And as I create in harmony with divine law, I prosper with ease. I bless all paths, all people, all progress. For in God's universe, there are no rivals, only reflections of infinite good expressing through many forms. I create, I circulate, I expand, and I prosper now, under grace, in perfect ways. It is done, it is sealed, it is manifest now. Increase is the rhythm of God made visible. Every star expanding in light, every flower unfolding its petal, every soul awakening to its power, all proclaim the same law. Life forever increases. When I live in the spirit of increase, I live in tune with the universe itself. I become a channel through which divine abundance flows easily and endlessly. I affirm, wherever I go, I bring increase. Everyone I meet feels richer for having met me. Everything I touch multiplies under grace. The world often teaches subtraction, fear, comparison, scarcity. But divine mind knows only addition and multiplication. To dwell in increase is to think as God thinks, always expanding, never retracting. When I praise, I expand. When I bless, I multiply. When I complain, I contract. So I choose praise over complaint, blessing over judgment, gratitude over criticism. Each thought of increase sends a ripple through creation, awakening new good in places unseen. I now radiate the vibration of increase in my words, my work, my presence. People feel uplifted in my company because I silently affirm, you are prospering, you are advancing, you are loved by an infinite source. The energy of increase flows from my eyes, my tone, my attitude. I become the evidence that God's supply never runs dry. The vibration of increase begins within. When I feel joy in small things, large blessings hurry to find me. When I give thanks for every coin, the river of gold widens. When I speak kindly of another's success, I magnetize my own. Therefore, I practice this law each day. I speak increase. I feel increase. I expect increase. And because expectation is faith in motion, increase must answer. If ever discouragement whispers, you are standing still, I answer, in spirit, I am advancing. If appearances suggest decrease, I affirm, divine order is multiplying my good beyond sight. For truth is not what I see, truth is what I declare. Every generous act expands the circle of wealth. When I give a smile, I plant a seed of joy. When I offer help, I sow a harvest of favor. When I share wisdom, I call forth new ideas. The more life I give, the more life gives to me. This is the eternal current of increase, outflow, and inflow, giving and receiving, always balanced, always growing. I no longer fear to give, for giving is proof that I am already supplied. I no longer fear to receive, for receiving allows God to give again. Thus, I keep the river moving, generous, open, alive. Wattles called it the impression of increase. Florence calls it the presence of increase. It is not what I do once. It is what I am every moment. I let my thoughts increase in beauty. I let my words increase in faith. I let my actions increase in love. And the outer world cannot help but mirror that inner expansion. Where others see limitation, I see beginnings. Where others feel envy, I feel inspiration. Where others give up, I go within and find the next divine idea waiting to blossom. I now affirm, I am the channel through which increase flows. I am a magnet for progress, promotion, and prosperity. Every person and every situation in my life is moving toward greater good. The vibration of increase surrounds me like light. It draws opportunities I never imagined, friendships that uplift, and wealth that blesses everyone it touches. I no longer chase abundance, I radiate it. I no longer wait for success, I embody it. I no longer hope for miracles, I live in them. To live in increase is to be peace in motion. It is to know that every heartbeat echoes the rhythm of creation. It is to say each morning, more life, more light, more love, and watch the day obey. So I send this decree through all realms of being. I am a living center of increase. All who come near me rise higher. All that I give returns multiplied. All that I am expands forever in God's abundance. And now, under grace, in perfect ways, I rest in the current of divine growth. I trust it, I thank it, I bless it. Increase is my natural state. Expansion is my divine rhythm. Prosperity is my birthright fulfilled. It is done. It is sealed. It is manifest now, under grace, and in perfect ways.
There is a secret that holds more power than all the words spoken upon the earth. It is not shouted from rooftops, nor written on tablets of stone. It is whispered in the silence of the heart, and only those who know how to guard it find that it multiplies and manifests in their life with marvelous accuracy. The law is simple: what you hold in silence grows, what you scatter in idle chatter dissolves. The invisible always precedes the visible, and the unseen thought takes form long before the world has eyes to see it. Therefore, the tongue is not merely a servant of expression, it is the gatekeeper of destiny. When you hold a desire, a vision, or a prayer, the moment you speak too soon, you dissipate the force of it. Others, with their doubts, fears, and casual words, may pour cold water on the flame of your faith. And yet, when you guard that secret like a jewel in the vault of your soul, it begins to gather substance. Silence, then, is not weakness, it is strength. For the silent one is communing with the infinite, and the infinite requires no defense. A seed planted in the ground must not be disturbed. If the gardener digs it up each day to show the neighbors, it will wither. So too with the seed of your heart's desire. The soil of spirit is dark, deep, and hidden from the curious eye. You water it with faith, you warm it with gratitude, and you protect it from the winds of doubt. In time, it rises, first tender, then strong, until the harvest is undeniable. Those who laughed will watch in awe, for nothing can stop a vision guarded in silence and nourished by conviction. Your words carry vibration. To speak of your secret before it is strong enough is to invite currents that may not be friendly. Some will envy, some will criticize, and some will project their own fears upon your dream. Why give them the chance? Instead, walk in quiet certainty, knowing that what belongs to you by divine right cannot be taken, delayed, nor denied. Let your silence be your shield, and your manifestation will be your testimony. The one who talks endlessly about what they will do often never does it. The one who moves in stillness, holding the image firmly within, is the one who arrives. Power works in the unseen. Electricity itself is silent until it meets a channel. So it is with spiritual power. Hold your secret until it becomes too real to be denied, until it breaks forth like dawn after the longest night. The world respects results, but results are born from the womb of silence. Therefore, learn the holy art of keeping your own counsel. Whisper your desire only to the infinite, and trust that it has already heard. Hold this secret and shut your mouth, for in that quiet lies the miracle. Silence protects the seed of your desire, for every thought, every intention, every vision you hold within yourself is a living seed. It is planted not in the soil of the earth, but in the fertile ground of your consciousness. Just as the farmer knows better than to expose his seed to the air, the frost, and the trampling of feet, so must the wise one guard the inner seed of their heart. The moment you decide upon a desire, the instant you see in your mind's eye the picture of what you long to create or receive, that seed begins its silent journey into form. It is fragile at first, invisible to others, vulnerable to the careless word and the doubtful thought. In its earliest stage, it is a tender shoot. And if it is constantly exposed to the chatter of tongues or the skepticism of others, its power can be weakened and the soil disturbed. Silence is the rich, dark ground where the seed is given time to root and grow unseen, unbothered, and unthreatened by the winds of the outer world. To speak too soon of your desire is to expose it before it has gathered strength. When you talk endlessly about your dreams, you may feel momentary excitement, but each word pulls a little of the energy outward, instead of letting it build within. People will add their opinions, their doubts, and their own limitations, and these can cloud the pure vision you once held. The seed becomes crowded with weeds not of your making, and before long, what should have grown with divine certainty is choked by unnecessary interference. Silence, therefore, is not mere restraint. It is a protective barrier. It is the invisible fence around the garden of your soul, keeping out the careless, the curious, and the critical. The seed needs time to draw nourishment from the unseen. It gathers life from your steady faith, from your gratitude, from the quiet certainty with which you carry yourself each day. Just as the earth works mysteriously beneath the surface, drawing moisture, warmth, and energy from the sun, so does the subconscious and the spirit bring forth your desire. This is why silence is golden, for silence gives the seed time to establish roots that will one day support the weight of the great tree. Without roots, even the strongest plant will topple at the first storm. Without silence, even the brightest vision can wither under the gaze of doubt. When you are silent about your seed, you are declaring trust in the unseen process. You no longer need to prove it, explain it, or defend it to anyone. You know that it is already growing, and this quiet knowing multiplies its strength. The seed in the soil does not need applause or commentary. It simply requires space and time. Likewise, your desire does not need to be broadcast to the world. It needs to be nurtured in the inner chamber of your mind, where no other influence can distort its shape. Many people scatter their seeds carelessly. They talk of their goals and visions before they are ready, sharing them with those who cannot understand. What happens then? The energy disperses, the clarity fades, and the vision no longer feels alive. The secret is not that the seed disappears, but that it becomes weakened by being tugged in too many directions. Your silence keeps the energy focused. It concentrates the light, the warmth, the nourishment all in one place, ensuring that the seed has the best chance to sprout strong and whole. Think of how nature hides her processes. The butterfly forms its wings inside a closed cocoon unseen by human eyes. The child grows in the secret darkness of the womb, shielded from interference. The diamond forms in the silent depths of the earth, under pressure and heat, hidden from the surface for countless years. Every great manifestation begins in silence, protected from premature exposure. If nature knows to conceal its treasures until they are fully formed, should you not do the same with the treasures of your own heart? Silence also preserves your energy. Words are powerful, but when scattered carelessly, they can drain you. To talk of your desires too soon is to give away part of your creative power. You may feel that by speaking you are affirming, but often you are simply dispersing. True affirmation happens inwardly, through thought, visualization, and belief. It is the steady heartbeat of conviction, not the restless chatter of explanation. Silence holds the energy close, compact, and potent, until it bursts forth into visible form. There is a strength in being still and knowing. Others may question, they may push, they may wonder why you remain quiet about your plans. But your silence is not emptiness, it is fullness contained. It is the wisdom of waiting. The tree does not rush to display its fruit in the first week of planting. The flower does not open its petals before the bud has gathered enough life. You too must allow your seed the dignity of time and the shield of secrecy. This is why silence protects the seed of your desire. It is the invisible guard, the unseen wall. The quiet strength that holds the dream safe until it has grown strong enough to be revealed without fear of withering. Just as a mother protects her child in the womb, so must you protect the seed in your soul. Silence is the womb of manifestation. It is the chamber where the seed draws life unseen, where it develops its form, where it grows in power until it is ready to emerge. And when it does, no word of doubt, no look of disbelief, no careless comment from another can undo it, for it has already taken root, already risen, already claimed its place in the visible world. Words carry vibration that can weaken or strengthen your vision. For every sound that leaves your lips is more than mere speech. It is a current of energy, a wave set forth upon the unseen, rippling out into the substance of life. The vibration of a word is like a tuning fork that calls forth either harmony or discord, depending on its tone, its intention, and the feeling behind it. To speak is to release power, and that power does not vanish. It creates, it attracts, and it shapes. When you realize that words are not idle but alive, you begin to understand why care must be taken with every utterance. Each word is a seed of vibration, and it either supports the vision you hold or it works against it. When you speak with faith, with conviction, with clarity, you fortify the vision within. The vibration of such words resonates with strength and draws to it similar currents. Like attracts like, and the word spoken in belief calls forth opportunities, people, and circumstances aligned with that belief. When you declare, "It is mine," with confidence, the universe echoes back in agreement. You feel stronger, your vision feels clearer, and the vibration gathers momentum in the unseen realm. Words of faith build walls of protection around your desire. They reinforce the structure and give shape to the unseen seed. But when you speak in doubt, when you allow complaint, worry, or fear to color your words, the vibration shifts. The vision that was once strong becomes diluted, the energy scatters. The subconscious hears every word and does not argue. It simply accepts and creates from it. To say, "I can't," or "It's too hard," is to impress weakness upon the soil of your mind, and the vibration weakens the roots of your vision. Even when spoken carelessly, words carry power, and careless words can undo days of careful cultivation. For this reason, the wise one watches the tongue and refuses to speak anything that contradicts the picture they are holding in silence. The vibration of words is not limited to sound. Words create atmosphere. Enter a room where people are speaking of failure, gossip, or fear, and you will feel the heaviness of their vibration. Enter another where gratitude, praise, and encouragement fill the air, and your spirit rises. The same is true of the words you speak to yourself in the silence of your mind. The inner dialogue is as potent as the outer speech. Every affirmation strengthens or weakens, every repeated phrase builds or destroys. The subconscious is impressionable, and the vibration of words, especially those repeated often, imprints deeply, becoming patterns of thought that shape your destiny. Words are like garments for your thoughts. A thought clothed in a strong, clear word takes form swiftly. A thought clothed in weak, doubtful word struggles to find expression. You may hold a vision within, but if your daily speech contradicts it, you are pulling in two directions. Imagine planting a seed and watering it daily. Then each evening pouring poison over it. The seed cannot thrive under such contradiction. Likewise, your vision cannot grow strong if your words weaken its vibration. Words spoken with emotion are especially powerful. When your heart burns with feeling, the vibration carries far. A word spoken in anger may wound deeply, lasting years in memory. A word spoken in love may heal, uplift, and inspire for a lifetime. So too with the words you attach to your vision. If you speak with passion and certainty, the vibration amplifies. It quickens the manifestation, it calls forth the unseen forces to support your aim. If you speak with hesitation, or worse, with ridicule of your own dream, the vibration falters and the seed weakens. This is why it is not enough to merely think positively. Your speech must be aligned as well. To say one thing and think another creates conflict in vibration. The strongest manifestation arises when thought, word, and feeling are in harmony. Then the vibration is pure, undivided, and irresistible. Your words become channels of power, carrying your vision outward like waves of sound that continue long after the moment of speaking. Consider how sound itself affects matter. A glass can shatter from a note held at the right pitch. Sand will form patterns when subjected to vibration. Water responds to tones, shaping itself according to frequency. If the material world is shaped by vibration, how much more is the subtle world of thought and spirit influenced by the words you speak? Every word is a vibration entering the invisible substance from which form is made. Speak of lack, and you align with lack. Speak of abundance, and you align with abundance. Speak of fear, and you call fear closer. Speak of faith, and faith multiplies. The vibration of words can also linger. A single discouraging remark from another may echo in the mind for years, if allowed. But so too can a word of encouragement. This is why guarding your environment and the words you permit yourself to hear and repeat is essential. Surround yourself with uplifting vibrations, with affirmations that strengthen, with speech that aligns with your vision. Do not lend your voice to conversations that weaken. Do not repeat phrases that contradict your good, and do not give energy to words that carry decay. Every culture has long understood the sacredness of the spoken word. Blessings and curses alike are carried by vibration. A blessing spoken with sincerity carries light, while a curse spoken in anger carries darkness. Both are words, but their vibration determines their effect. Likewise, the words you speak over your vision are blessings or curses. Each time you affirm its reality, you bless it. Each time you speak doubt, you curse it. The wise one blesses their own desire daily with words of faith, gratitude, and certainty. To master your words is to master the vibration you send into the universe. It is to align the unseen forces with your vision and to ensure that nothing spoken weakens its power. Every word carries vibration that either builds or destroys, strengthens or weakens, attracts or repels. To realize this is to understand why silence has its place and why speech must be chosen with care. Your vision depends not only on the seed within, but also on the vibration that surrounds it. And that vibration is shaped by the words you allow to pass through your lips and settle into your heart. Guard your secret from doubt, envy, and criticism, for nothing weakens the sacred seed of your desire more than the careless influence of others. The dream you carry within is like a flame sheltered in cupped hands. It burns brightly when protected, but a single gust of doubt or a careless word can cause it to flicker and fade. When you allow others to gaze upon your vision before it is strong enough to stand on its own, you expose it to forces that do not nurture, but undermine. Not everyone will see what you see, and not everyone has the faith to believe in what has not yet taken form. For this reason, the wise soul keeps the vision close, like a treasure hidden in the heart, shielded from those who cannot comprehend it. Doubt is the first thief to watch for. The doubter does not always speak with malice. Often they believe they are being practical, even helpful. They ask questions that sow uncertainty. How will you do it? What if it fails? What if it costs too much? Each question, though seemingly innocent, carries the vibration of hesitation, and hesitation is poison to the growing seed of faith. The seed does not need to know how, it only needs to grow. The one who allows doubt to enter begins to second-guess their vision, and what was once clear becomes clouded. Guarding your secret from doubt means refusing to let the questions of others take root in your consciousness. It means recognizing that what is possible for you may not be possible for them, and that their limitation has no authority over your destiny. Envy is a subtler enemy. When you share your vision too soon, some will smile, but beneath the smile lies resentment. They may not wish you harm outright, yet their unspoken jealousy carries a vibration that can interfere with your confidence. Envy seeks to diminish, to suggest that you are not worthy, that you are reaching too high, that your dream should not surpass the boundaries that others accept. If you are not vigilant, you may absorb this energy and begin to shrink your own vision to make others comfortable. Guarding your secret from envy means protecting yourself from the subtle pull of those who resent your light. It means remembering that your success does not diminish anyone else, and that envy belongs to those who harbor it, not to you. Criticism is perhaps the most blatant challenge. Some will openly dismiss your vision, telling you it cannot be done, that you are unwise, that you are wasting your time. Their words may be sharp, but they carry the power to wound only if you grant them entrance. The critic often speaks from their own failure, projecting their disappointments upon you. They could not achieve, so they insist you cannot either. To guard your secret is to recognize that criticism speaks more about the critic than about you. It is a reflection of their own fear, their own limitations, their own disbelief. By shielding your vision from such voices, you allow it to grow without being poisoned by someone else's story. Guarding your secret is not about mistrusting everyone. It is about discernment. You must know who is capable of holding your vision in the light of faith, and who is not. Few people are able to believe in the invisible with you. Fewer still can encourage without envy or criticize without diminishing. Therefore, it is often best to share only with the infinite, until your vision is strong enough to reveal itself in undeniable form. When it appears, when the seed blossoms and the fruit is visible, no doubt, envy or criticism can undo it. But until then, silence is your shield. Consider how a gardener protects a young plant. He places it under cover until it is hardy enough to withstand the elements. He guards it from animals who might trample it, from pests who might feed upon it, from careless feet that might crush it without noticing. Only when it has grown strong does he transplant it into open ground. So it must be with the visions of the soul. You guard them until they are rooted deeply enough to endure the winds of opinion. When you reveal too soon, you invite interference. Each word of doubt, each glance of envy, each criticism becomes like a shadow over your seed. Even if the seed continues to grow, it does so with less vigor. But when you guard it, you keep its energy pure, undiluted, and whole. The energy of your faith remains concentrated, and the seed grows quickly, free of external contamination. This is why secrecy in the early stages of a desire is not weakness but wisdom. Guarding your secret also protects you from the temptation to seek validation. Often, people share their vision because they crave encouragement. They want others to agree, to affirm, to believe with them. But the danger in seeking this validation is that when it is not given, the vision falters. If you are to bring forth the invisible into the visible, your faith must be self-sustaining, not dependent on the approval of others. By guarding your secret, you cultivate inner certainty, a conviction that does not rely on outside voices. Then, when you do share, you do so not to receive encouragement, but to declare what has already come to pass. Envy, doubt, and criticism cannot touch the vision you refuse to expose. Their power is only as great as the access you allow. Words spoken against your dream have no entrance if you never open the door. Silence is a wall that keeps out the destructive forces of the world. Faith is the lock that seals the gate. By choosing silence, by keeping your secret close, you choose to honor the sanctity of your desire. Guarding your secret is an act of reverence. It is to treat your vision not as something ordinary, to be tossed about in idle conversation, but as something holy, deserving of protection. It is to recognize that your desire is a creation in progress, not yet ready for the harshness of the outer world. The pearl forms inside the oyster, hidden from sight, layer by layer, until it emerges complete. Your vision too forms in the secrecy of silence, hidden from doubt, envy, and criticism, until it is ready to shine with undeniable beauty. Manifestation begins in the unseen before it becomes visible. For every form that appears in the outer world is but the shadow of what was once only an idea, a vibration, a spark within the invisible. The house you live in was first a thought in someone's mind. The book you read was once only a vision in the author's heart. The tree that stands tall was once hidden as a seed beneath the earth. Nothing appears suddenly without first existing in silence, in darkness, in the unseen realm where all things are born. To understand this is to understand the law of creation. The invisible always precedes the visible, and to work with the unseen is to move with the true power of manifestation. When you hold a vision, you are already engaging with the unseen. It is real, though others cannot see it. It exists, though it is not yet tangible. The unseen is the womb where desire is conceived and nurtured until the time of birth. The mistake many make is to look for evidence too soon, to demand proof in the outer world before the inner has had time to shape itself. Just as the child must grow for months before being born, so must the desire develop unseen before showing its face in the visible. Faith is the bridge between the two. Faith knows that because the unseen exists, the seen must follow. The unseen is not empty. It is filled with substance, with infinite intelligence, with the raw material of creation. Every thought, every image impressed upon the subconscious is working silently, drawing circumstances, aligning people, moving conditions in ways you cannot measure with the senses. You cannot always see how it is being prepared, but you can be certain that it is. To doubt the unseen because it is not yet visible is like doubting the seed because the sprout has not broken the surface. The wise one understands that the greater part of growth happens beneath the ground, invisible to the eye. Manifestation does not begin when you see results. It begins the moment you conceive the vision and impress it upon your inner world. That is the true act of creation. Everything that follows is merely the unfolding of what has already been set into motion. When you hold a desire, you are sculpting in the unseen. Every thought of faith adds detail, every word of gratitude strengthens it, every visualization gives it more clarity. It is being built behind the curtain, and when the curtain rises, what appears may seem sudden to the world, but you will know it has long been prepared. The unseen requires silence and protection, for it is delicate in the beginning. To share it too soon or expose it to doubt is to risk interfering with its growth. Just as a bud is easily damaged before it blooms, so too is the vision fragile in its early stages. It must be held close, nourished in quiet confidence, and believed in even when no evidence is yet visible. The gardener does not despair when days pass without seeing green. He knows the unseen work is happening in the soil. Likewise, you must trust that the unseen is always active, even when the outer world looks unchanged. The unseen operates according to laws that are constant and impartial. Just as gravity is unseen yet governs every movement on earth, so does the law of mind govern the process of manifestation. What you impress inwardly must eventually express outwardly. The visible world is the result of countless unseen impressions layered over time. If your inner world is filled with faith, clarity, and certainty, your outer world will mirror it. If it is filled with fear, confusion, and doubt, your outer world will reflect that instead. This is why mastery of the unseen is mastery of life. Imagination is the key instrument of the unseen. When you imagine, you are not creating fantasy. You are working in the workshop of reality. The picture you form in imagination is already real in the unseen, and if sustained, it will clothe itself in physical form. This is why daydreams without faith and consistency fade, while visions held with conviction eventually take shape. The unseen does not play with shadows. It molds substance. Your task is to hold the image steady, unwavering, until the unseen completes its work. Every great creation in history was first mocked because it existed only in the unseen. The inventor saw what others could not see. The artist envisioned what others could not imagine. The pioneer believed in lands others thought impossible. At first, the outer world showed no proof. There was nothing to point to, nothing to convince the doubters. But in the unseen, the creation was already alive. With persistence, the unseen became seen, and what was once laughed at became undeniable reality. The same law works in your life. That which you hold within, with steadfast faith, must eventually reveal itself outwardly, regardless of whether others believe. The unseen is not bound by time as the visible is. What seems to delay in the physical realm may already be complete in the invisible, waiting only for the right conditions to appear. You may believe nothing is happening, yet beneath the surface, threads are being woven, connections are being made, alignments are unfolding. Just as the sunrise is inevitable though the sky is still dark, the manifestation of the unseen is inevitable once the inner picture is fully formed and believed in. The darkness is not a denial of light. It is simply the stage before the dawn. Patience is the companion of those who work with the unseen. They understand that rushing the process is like pulling at a plant to make it grow faster. The unseen has its rhythm, its perfect timing. When you trust it, you release anxiety. You no longer need to watch the soil constantly. You know the growth is happening. You live in quiet expectancy, certain that what is yours is already on its way. You treat the unseen not as possibility but as certainty. And this certainty is what accelerates the appearance in the visible. The unseen is also influenced by emotion. A vision held with cold detachment may linger, but a vision charged with joy, gratitude, and excitement gathers speed. Feeling is the magnet that draws the unseen into the visible. To imagine without feeling is to sketch without color, but to imagine with emotion is to paint vividly, so that the unseen takes form more swiftly. The universe responds to vibration, and emotion is the strongest vibration of all. To live aligned with manifestation is to live with awareness of the unseen. You understand that the outer world is not the starting point, but the result. You do not measure success by what your eyes can see today, but by the clarity of the vision you hold within. The unseen is the cause. The visible is the effect. To focus on the cause is to hold power. To focus only on the effect is to chase shadows. When you work in the unseen, you are working at the level where change is real and lasting. Hold your counsel. Results speak louder than talk. For words may stir excitement for a moment, but deeds and manifestations are the true evidence of power. To speak continually of what you will do, what you intend, what you dream of, is to scatter energy into the air. People may nod, they may encourage, they may even doubt, but none of their reactions create substance. Talk alone produces no fruit. The tree is not known by the sound of rustling leaves but by the sweetness of its harvest. So too is the soul known not by promises or speeches, but by the results that silently appear from steadfast faith and action. When you hold your counsel, you conserve your strength. Every word spoken about what has not yet manifested weakens the focus, allowing the energy to dissipate into idle curiosity and unnecessary explanation. But when you remain silent, you keep the energy concentrated, like water held in a reservoir, ready to power the wheel at the appointed time. The one who speaks too soon gives away their power before the form has had time to solidify, but the one who holds their counsel builds a reservoir of unseen force that eventually overflows into visible manifestation. Silence, then, is not emptiness, it is storage of power. Results have a voice of their own. They require no defense, no persuasion, no explanation. When the manifestation appears, it speaks on your behalf with authority. No critic can argue with the harvest once it is in your hand. No doubter can refute the house once it is built, the book once it is written, the dream once it is embodied. Talk invites debate, but results end all debate. Results shine with a clarity that words cannot match. To live in such a way that your results speak for you is to walk in quiet strength, knowing that nothing is proved by noise, but everything is proved by manifestation. Holding your counsel also protects you from those who would drain your vision with their questions, their envy, their criticism. The more you talk, the more opportunity you give for others to inject doubt or to weaken your conviction. But when you keep silent, they have nothing to grasp, nothing to resist, nothing to attack. They are left to wonder, and wonder is powerless compared to certainty. Your silence keeps your vision hidden until it is undeniable, and by the time they see it, it is already too late for their doubt to interfere. There is wisdom in moving quietly. The greatest changes often happen unseen, unnoticed, until they burst forth with undeniable force. Rivers carve valleys not with noise, but with steady persistence. Stars are born in the silence of space. A pearl grows in the hidden shell of an oyster, layer by layer, until one day it is revealed in beauty. Likewise, your results grow silently when you hold your counsel, gathering strength until they shine so brightly that all must acknowledge them. The one who constantly talks of what they will do often becomes trapped in their own words. They enjoy the admiration of others for their grand plans, but the admiration fades when no results appear. They must talk again, promising new things, always speaking, seldom delivering. Their energy is spent in appearances rather than substance. But the one who holds their counsel speaks little, works much, and reveals only what is already completed. Their words are few, but their results are abundant. They do not need to declare their power, for their results reveal it. To hold your counsel is to trust the process of manifestation more than the opinions of people. You no longer seek validation from others. You no longer need to convince anyone. You know that your work with the unseen is enough, and that in time, the results will show. This removes the weight of explanation from your shoulders. You live in quiet faith, and your results speak as your testimony. People may doubt your silence, but they cannot deny your results. There is a dignity in withholding speech until the moment of revelation. The sculptor does not invite the crowd to watch while he chips away at the marble, enduring mistakes and rough edges. He works in silence until the form is complete, and only then does he unveil the statue. The crowd gasps not at his words but at his results. So too must you work in silence, refining, shaping, strengthening your vision until it stands complete. Your unveiling will require no speech, for the results themselves will proclaim what you have accomplished. Holding your counsel strengthens your relationship with the infinite. Instead of scattering your desire in idle talk, you bring it inward, speaking only to the higher power that alone has the authority to bring it forth. Your prayer is your speech, your silence is your faith, and your results are your proof. You no longer depend on the approval of others, for you have placed your trust in the unseen law. You live by principle, not by chatter. And in living this way, your results carry a sacred authority that words could never equal. Results carry permanence that words do not. Words can be forgotten, dismissed, or twisted, but results stand as fact. They exist independently of opinion. A harvest in your hands is undeniable. A manifestation in your life is irrefutable. It requires no explanation because it is self-evident. The world cannot argue with results. It must acknowledge them. The quiet one who holds their counsel until results appear walks in greater power than the loud one who shouts without fruit. Holding your counsel teaches patience. It teaches you to trust timing, to allow the unseen to work without interference. You learn to resist the urge to announce, to prove, to seek validation. Instead, you let the results grow in silence, knowing that when they appear, they will speak for themselves. This patience strengthens you, for it teaches reliance on inner certainty rather than outward approval. You find peace in knowing that the results will arrive in their season, and until then, silence is your ally. There is also protection in results. Words may stir envy or provoke criticism, but results cannot be undone by these things. Once the manifestation is visible, no amount of doubt can erase it. It exists, it stands, it testifies. Holding your counsel allows your results to arrive fully formed, strong enough to withstand whatever opinions may come. When they appear, they do not need defense, for their very existence is defense enough. To live by this principle is to honor the power of action over talk, of manifestation over promise, of silence over noise. You become one who builds rather than boasts, one who produces rather than predicts. Your life becomes a testament to the truth that results carry their own voice, and that this voice is louder, clearer, and more lasting than all the talk in the world.
There is a strange and holy paradox that governs all of creation, and it is this: The force you are using to pull your dreams closer might be the very thing pushing them away. Imagine holding a small bird in your hands, a desire, a prayer, a desperate, beautiful hope. You want to keep it safe. You want to make sure it doesn't fly away before its time. So you cup your hands tighter. You close your fingers. You clench. Your knuckles turn white with the effort of your wanting. But a bird held that tightly cannot breathe. A dream held that tightly cannot move. A prayer held that tightly cannot ascend. In your fierce protection, you are suffocating the very life you wish to nurture. This is the grip of manifestation. The silent struggle so many of us know in our bones, the tension in our shoulders, the knot in our stomachs, the endless looping thoughts of how and when and why not yet. We are taught to want. We are taught to strive. We are taught to visualize with intensity, to affirm with force, to hustle with relentless ambition. And yet, there is a deeper, quieter, more powerful law at play. The revolutionary spiritual teacher Florence Scovel Shin knew this law intimately. She saw it as the master key to unlocking a life of grace and effortless attainment. She taught that your reality is not shaped by the force of your striving, but by the depth of your faith. And faith has very little to do with holding on. It has everything to do with letting go. This is the power of release. Florence once wrote, "The game of life is a game of boomerangs. Our thoughts, deeds, and words return to us sooner or later with astounding accuracy." Think about that, a boomerang. To make it return, you don't hold on to it. You don't clutch it to your chest and hope it flies. You must, with intention and trust, release it. You throw it out into the vastness, fully expecting its return. Your desire is a boomerang. Your prayer is a boomerang. The act of holding on, of worrying, of checking for results every 5 minutes. This is not an act of faith. It is a declaration of doubt. It is you, standing on the field, clutching the boomerang, whispering to the universe, "I don't trust you. I don't believe you know how to bring this back to me. So I will just stand here, holding it, suffocating it with my need, and I will call this effort manifestation." The universe, in its infinite intelligence and obedience, hears your real message. It hears the vibration beneath the words. It hears the clenching. It hears the fear. And it responds in kind. It gives you more reasons to clench, more reasons to fear, more evidence that you must hold on for dear life. Because if you don't, everything will fall apart. The boomerang stays in your hand, motionless, powerless. This is not a punishment. It is a law of reflection, a law of resonance. You are the writer of this law in your own life. Let's bring this down from the clouds and into your kitchen, into your car, into the quiet moments before you fall asleep. Where does this grip show up for you? Perhaps it's in your relationships. You've met someone, or you long to meet someone, and the grip begins. You check your phone for a text, again and again. You analyze the last conversation, mining it for clues, for proof of affection, for signs of rejection. You craft the perfect response, deleting and retyping, trying to engineer a specific outcome. You live in a future projection, planning dates that haven't been proposed, imagining conversations that haven't happened. Your energy, which should be a warm, magnetic, open invitation, becomes a tight, anxious, grasping force. You are not present in your own life. You are auditioning for a role in someone else's. You are holding the bird so tightly. You are whispering, "Please don't leave. Please like me. Please be the one." This energy is heavy. It is suffocating. It repels the very love and ease you crave. The release is not about giving up on love. It is the opposite. It is an act of profound self-love. The release is putting your phone down and going for a walk. The release is sinking into a hot bath and focusing only on the water on your skin. The release is calling a friend and laughing until your sides hurt. The release is turning your potent, creative, life force energy back onto yourself. Your own joy, your own peace, your own wholeness. It is looking up at the sky and saying, with a calm and steady heart, "Infinite intelligence, I desire a partnership built on love, respect, and joy. I have sent out the call. I now release the how and the when into your perfect care. I will go about my life, preparing myself to be the kind of partner I wish to attract. I trust the divine timing. I trust the process. You have released the boomerang. You have loosened your grip on the bird. And now it has the space to fly and the space to return. Love finds you when you are no longer hunting for it, but when you have become a home for it within yourself. Or perhaps the grip shows up in your career, your purpose, your finances. You have a dream, a business to launch, a project to complete, a promotion you deeply deserve. And so you grip. You work 18-hour days, fueled by coffee and fear. You refresh your email, your sales dashboard, your bank account, looking for external validation that you are on the right path. Every small obstacle feels like a sign of impending doom. Every moment of rest feels like laziness, like you are falling behind. You are in a constant state of pushing a boulder uphill. You believe that the second you stop pushing, it will roll back and crush you. This is the energy of lack, the energy of distrust. You are telling the universe, success is scarce, and I must fight for my tiny piece of it. Abundance is not my natural state, so I must force it into existence through sheer, brutal effort. And the universe, the great mirror, says, as you believe, so it is. And it gives you more boulders to push, more fires to put out, more reasons to feel that you are just one step away from failure. The release is not about quitting your job or abandoning your dream. It is about changing the energy with which you work. It is a radical act of faith. It is doing your part with excellence, with love, with integrity, and then releasing the outcome. It is planting the seeds, watering them diligently, and then trusting the sun and the soil to do their part. You do not dig up the seed every day to see if it's growing. That would kill it. The release is closing the laptop at the end of the day and being fully present with your family, or your pet, or your own precious silence. It is looking at a bill that arrives in the mail and saying, "Thank you for this opportunity to circulate abundance. I bless this bill, and I know that divine supply is my reality. This is paid, in full, with grace." It is taking a day off, not as a reward, but as a sacred practice of trusting that the universe continues to work on your behalf, even when you are resting. It is the profound shift from, "I have to make this happen," to, "I am allowing this to happen through me." You have released the boomerang of your prosperity. And now, it has the space to gather speed, to gather resources, to gather unseen opportunities on its flight path back to you. Success comes not when you wrestle it to the ground, but when you become an open channel for its flow. This is the paradox. The grip of control creates chaos. The release into faith creates order. Now this is the moment of empowerment, the moment where everything shifts. Are you ready? Here it is. You are already an expert at this. You are using the law of release and the law of attachment every single day, whether you are aware of it or not. When you worry about your health, you are attaching your powerful focus to an image of illness. You are holding on to that fear, giving it life, giving it energy. You are, in effect, releasing your faith in a negative outcome. You are sending out a boomerang of dis-ease and trusting its return. When you replay an argument in your head, you are attaching to the energy of conflict. You are sending out a boomerang of discord, and it will surely find its way back in the form of more arguments and misunderstandings. When you complain about your lack of money, you are gripping the reality of scarcity. You are holding it, examining it, speaking it into being. You are sending out a boomerang of not enough, and the universe, your faithful servant, will bring you more experiences of not enough. Do you see? This is not a new power you need to acquire. It is the power you have been wielding all along. This is not about shame or blame. There is no room for that here. This is a moment of awakening, a moment of reclamation. You have been the master of your reality all along. You have just been, perhaps, writing a script of struggle, believing it was the only way. Today, you pick up the pen and begin a new chapter, a chapter written with the ink of trust, a chapter defined not by the grip, but by the grace of release. So, how do we practice this? How do we turn this profound truth into a lived daily reality? We do it with simple, sacred steps. We make it a ritual of remembrance. Here is a practice you can begin today, not tomorrow, not when you feel more spiritual, today, right now. We can think of this practice in 3 sacred steps of release. The first step is a sacred identification. You cannot release what you will not acknowledge. Get quiet, place a hand on your heart, and name the thing you are gripping. Speak it aloud with gentleness and honesty. Say, I am gripping the need for this job offer. Say, I am gripping the fear that I will always be alone. Or, I am gripping the anxiety around this health diagnosis. Perhaps, I am gripping the shame of this past mistake. Name it. See it clearly. Feel the tension it creates in your body, the clenching in your jaw, the tightness in your chest. Don't judge it. Just acknowledge its presence. You are simply identifying the boomerang you've been refusing to throw. The second step is the divine handover. This is the heart of the practice. This is the act of release. You must make it real. You must make it tangible. You can write the desire or the worry down on a piece of paper. Feel the weight of it as you write the words. Pour the anxiety, the hope, the fear onto the page. Then, you perform a sacred act. You can fold the paper and place it in a special box, a God box, signifying that it is no longer in your hands, but in divine hands. You can safely burn the paper, watching the smoke rise, visualizing your worry transforming into prayer and ascending to the heavens. Or you can simply close your eyes, visualize the desire as a ball of light in your hands, and then open your hands and watch it float upwards into the care of a loving, intelligent universe. As you do this, you speak a declaration of faith. You say the words that seal the act. I now release this into divine hands. I hand over this burden, this desire, this outcome. It is no longer mine to manage. It is now in the care of infinite intelligence, to be brought to fulfillment in the perfect way and at the perfect time. I let it go, and I let God. Feel the shift in your body, a lightness in your shoulders, a softening in your belly, an exhale you didn't even know you were holding. This is the feeling of freedom. This is the feeling of real power. The third step is a practice of active stillness. This is the most misunderstood part of release. Letting go does not mean becoming passive. It does not mean sitting on your couch and waiting for a miracle to fall into your lap. That is not faith. That is abdication. Active stillness means you have handed over the outcome, but you are still responsible for your alignment. Your only job now is to live your life, to find joy, to be present, to follow the inspired nudges and intuitive whispers that will now have the space to reach you. The universe will give you the next logical step, a sudden urge to call an old friend, an idea for a new recipe, a desire to go to a bookstore you've never visited before. These are the golden threads of guidance. Your job is to follow them without needing to know where they lead. You are simply enjoying the journey, knowing your destination is assured. This is living in a state of grace. This is walking through the world with open hands. And to support you in this act of stillness, You anchor your mind with new words. You give your subconscious mind its new divine instructions. You can use affirmations in the spirit of Florence to be your companions. You can say to yourself, I release this situation with perfect faith, knowing it now returns to me fulfilled and complete, under grace in a perfect way. Or feel into these words, my hands are empty to receive, for I have given my burden to infinite intelligence. I go forth in peace and confidence, for my good is already here. And another powerful declaration is, the divine plan for my life cannot be interfered with. It unfolds now, with ease and joy. I do not struggle or strive. I simply align and allow. Say them, write them, feel them. Let them be the new frequency your soul tunes into. Now, a word of gentle encouragement for the journey. When you first begin to practice release, it can feel strange, uncomfortable, even frightening. The mind, so accustomed to the hamster wheel of worry, will not know what to do with the silence. The absence of anxiety can feel like a void. You might think, it's not working. I don't feel anything. I should be doing more. My love, that feeling of emptiness is the most powerful sign of your success. You have just flipped a major circuit in your consciousness. The old, frantic pathways of worry have gone dark. It takes a moment for the new, calm, steady circuit of faith to fully illuminate. The quiet is the evidence of the rewiring. Imagine you've been living next to a loud, roaring freeway your whole life. The constant noise is your normal. Then, one day, the traffic is rerouted. The freeway is silent. At first, the silence would be deafening, unsettling. You would feel that something is wrong. But soon, you would begin to hear other things. The birds singing, the wind in the trees, your own heartbeat. The discomfort of release is the sound of the freeway traffic of fear finally ceasing. Do not mistake this sacred silence for inaction. It is in this fertile quiet that the universe does its most profound work. You have cleared the channel. Now the clear signal can come through. You have planted the seed in the rich, dark soil. You cannot see the roots taking hold, but that is where the most critical growth is happening. Trust the process. Be gentle with yourself as you acclimate to the frequency of peace. You are not broken. You have never been broken. You are a powerful creator who was simply taught to use force instead of faith. You were taught to grip instead of to grace. Your intense desire, your fierce hold, was never a flaw. It was a testament to how deeply you care, a testament to the power of your heart. But today, you are remembering a more ancient, more effective, more feminine way. The way of the open hand. The way of the released boomerang. The way of profound trust in a universe that is wired for your success. Your power is not in your grip. It is in your release. This is the truth. And now, you have a choice. Will you continue to clench, to strive, to suffocate your own dreams with the force of your fear? Or will you choose to exhale? Will you choose to open your hands, release your boomerang into the vast and loving sky, and trust in its magnificent return? The choice, as always, is yours. Leave a comment below and declare your new way of being. Declare, I release my grip and open my hands to receive. Let your words be a ripple of this powerful truth out into the world. And as you go into the rest of your day, your evening, your life, ask yourself this one gentle question. What is the one desire you are willing to set free tonight in perfect faith that its perfect fulfillment is already on its way back to you?
Water brings wealth. The river flows, the rain falls, the ocean tides move, and in their rhythm lies the secret of prosperity. Water is the universal carrier of abundance, the invisible hand that nourishes fields, fills granaries, and quickens the life of nations. When water flows freely, there is fruitfulness, there is growth, there is wealth. When it is blocked, stagnation appears, and life becomes parched. The same law applies to the spirit, for man's life is also a stream, meant to circulate, to give, to receive, to flow without fear or resistance. Water teaches us that supply is endless. A drop may appear small, yet it is connected to the vastness of oceans. So too is every coin, every opportunity, every blessing. It is a drop connected to the infinite sea of abundance. The mistake of man is to see the drop and forget the ocean. He clutches the small and fears loss, yet the law of water declares as it flows out, more flows in. The spring that gives never runs dry, for its source is eternal. Wealth does not come by hoarding, but by circulation, just as rivers keep their purity by movement, not by standing still. Observe the farmer who trusts the rain. He scatters his seed in the dark earth, knowing water will awaken it. He does not dig it up in doubt, nor cry out in fear of drought, but lives in faith that the law of growth cannot fail. So it is with wealth. One must give with confidence, sow with certainty, and know that life returns multiplied. To withhold is to dry the ground of one's own harvest. To release is to invite the river of increase. Water also teaches the lesson of adaptability. It takes the form of the vessel it enters, whether a cup, a jar, or a mighty lake, yet it loses none of its essence. Wealth, too, is not limited to coins or notes. It may appear as ideas, opportunities, health, friendships, or doors opening at the right hour. When one insists it must come in only one form, one limits the stream. But when one allows it to take its own way, wealth appears in unexpected channels, as sure as rain finds its path to the sea. There is also cleansing in water. A rushing stream washes away the old leaves, the broken branches, the dust of yesterday. Prosperity comes when the channels of thought are cleared of fear, resentment, and doubt. Just as muddy water settles when undisturbed, so a mind at peace reflects the clear truth of supply. When the mind flows with gratitude, forgiveness, and expectancy, wealth rushes in as naturally as rivers to the ocean. Thus, water is the emblem of wealth itself, flowing, abundant, adaptable, purifying, and unending. To align with it is to step into the law of circulation, where giving and receiving are one, and the tide of prosperity never fails. Water symbolizes endless circulation of abundance. To understand this truth, one must look at the way water moves through the world, never ceasing, never clinging, always flowing from one form into another, and yet never diminished. It evaporates from the sea, rises into the clouds, falls as rain, seeps into the soil, springs up as fountains, gathers in rivers, returns to the ocean, and begins again. This cycle is unbroken, eternal, and generous, offering life to every living thing. The lesson is clear: abundance is not a possession to be grasped, but a flow to be entered. The moment one sees water as a mirror of wealth, the mind awakens to a higher law, the law that says supply cannot end. For it circulates in perfect rhythm, carrying prosperity wherever it moves. When one watches a river, one sees that it never worries whether there will be more water tomorrow. It simply flows, confident that the source is unceasing. In this same way, life asks us to trust that there is always more wealth, more opportunity, more good, ready to flow into our lives if we do not obstruct the channel. The human error is in believing that abundance is limited, that once spent it may not return. This belief dries the river of prosperity, for thought is the channel through which abundance flows. To think shortage is to dam the stream, but to think circulation is to invite the endless current of increase. Water teaches the fearless truth that there is no end to supply, for the source is infinite and eternal. Consider the ocean, vast, immeasurable, teeming with life. Every river gives itself to the ocean, and yet the ocean is never full. Every wave that crashes on the shore is instantly replaced by another, and another, and another. So it is with wealth. Each gift, each act of generosity, each expenditure, when aligned with trust, returns multiplied. Because the source is not the coin or the hand that gives it, but the infinite reservoir behind it all. Just as the tide rises without effort, so abundance rises when one aligns with the truth of circulation. The wealth of the ocean is not hoarded but expressed, for it sends forth clouds to bring rain, which fills rivers, which return again. Thus, wealth moves in a circle, not a straight line. A stagnant pond, cut off from flow, becomes murky and lifeless, breeding decay. Yet a stream that flows freely sparkles with clarity and sustains multitudes. This too is the law of prosperity. When one clutches tightly, fearing to lose, wealth grows stale, opportunities dry up, and joy is replaced with burden. But when one allows giving and receiving to move in balance, life stays fresh, creative, and fruitful. Water never asks, "What if I give too much of myself?" It pours down from the clouds, it rushes across valleys, it seeps into roots, and still it is renewed. So also must man trust that in giving, he does not empty himself, but connects more deeply to the unending flow of abundance. Every culture has known the sacredness of water. Ancient temples placed fountains at their gates to symbolize cleansing and renewal. For they knew water carried more than refreshment. It carried the symbol of eternal supply. Farmers prayed for rain not only for their crops, but as a sign of divine favor, a reminder that the heavens were still open, that abundance was still flowing. Traders and merchants built their cities on rivers, knowing that flowing water meant flowing wealth. The pattern repeats across all ages and lands. Where water flows, prosperity blooms. This is not coincidence but law. For water is the visible expression of circulation, and circulation is the heartbeat of abundance. One may look also at the smallest drop and still find the lesson. A single raindrop falls into a puddle and creates ripples that expand outward without end. So it is with wealth. One act of generosity, however small, expands far beyond what the eye can see. It touches lives, creates opportunities, awakens gratitude, and returns multiplied. The one who sees this truth does not measure their giving by its size but by its flow. For a drop is not less significant than a river when connected to the source. The drop is proof that the ocean is near, just as the coin in one's hand is proof of infinite supply waiting to be released. The endless circulation of water also shows that abundance does not belong to one alone, but to all. Rain falls on fields without choosing one over another. Rivers pass through nations without concern for boundaries drawn by men. The tide belongs not to one shore but to the entire earth. Likewise, wealth is not the possession of a few but the inheritance of all. For it flows through channels seen and unseen, touching each life in its own way. To claim monopoly over it is to resist its nature, but to recognize its universality is to align oneself with its true movement. In sharing, one enters the flow; in hoarding, one steps out of it. There is also the truth that water follows the path of least resistance. It does not argue with stone or mountain, but finds the way around, under, or through. In the same manner, wealth seeks the open channel. When the mind is filled with fear, doubt, and resistance, wealth cannot enter, for the channel is blocked. But when the mind is clear, trusting, and expectant, wealth flows as naturally as water down a slope. The law is effortless. Open the way, and the stream will find you. No forcing is needed, no struggle required. Abundance is not made but allowed, for it is already flowing, already moving, already seeking its outlet. To meditate on water is to meditate on wealth. Its endless circulation whispers the secret that life is not about accumulation but flow, not about holding but releasing, not about scarcity but endless supply. The rain that falls today has fallen for centuries past and will fall for centuries to come, nourishing countless generations. So it is with abundance. What sustains one will sustain another, for the source never runs dry. The one who understands this truth does not fear loss, for he knows there is always more, just as the river knows it will always be fed by the rain, and the rain knows it will always return from the sea. Wealth flows through giving, not hoarding. The very nature of abundance is movement, and when that movement is embraced, prosperity multiplies. When wealth is clutched tightly, when the hand is closed in fear of loss, circulation halts, and what was once living becomes stagnant. To give is to keep the channel open, to let the current of supply flow freely, knowing that in releasing one is not emptying but making space for greater increase. The one who understands this principle no longer fears generosity, for he knows that wealth, like water, must be poured out in order to return. A tree gives fruit without hesitation. It does not question whether the branches will again be heavy with harvest. It yields freely, season after season, because the law of growth is certain. So too must one give of wealth, talent, kindness, and service, knowing that every act returns in multiplied form. The soil does not resent the seed planted within it. It receives, nourishes, and returns a harvest far greater than what was sown. When one gives with trust, the same law is fulfilled, for giving is not loss but multiplication. Hoarding, on the other hand, is born of fear. It whispers that there may not be enough tomorrow, so one must grasp tightly today. Yet this very act of holding interrupts the flow, just as damming a stream can dry the fields downstream. A hoarded coin grows cold, locked away from circulation, unable to do its work. But a coin released into the world becomes bread on a table, clothing on a child, wages for a worker, profit for a merchant, and eventually, it circles back, carrying with it unseen blessings. The wealth that is given expands, but the wealth that is hoarded diminishes. One can observe this in nature. The clouds give rain to the earth, and the earth returns vapor to the skies. This eternal exchange sustains all life. If the clouds withheld their rain, the earth would wither, crops would fail, and even the clouds themselves would eventually disperse into nothingness. Giving keeps the cycle alive. In the same way, when wealth is circulated through generosity, investment, and trust, the cycle of abundance is maintained. When it is withheld, both giver and receiver suffer, for the chain of prosperity is broken. A farmer does not keep every seed in his storehouse, fearing famine. He knows that by planting he is not losing, but ensuring future harvests. Each seed released becomes many. Likewise, the wealth that is shared, whether in material form or in acts of service, multiplies in return. The one who gives from a heart of trust stands in harmony with the law of circulation. The one who withholds out of fear isolates himself from the very source of increase. True wealth is never about possession alone, but about movement. A river that flows enriches everything along its banks: trees, animals, villages, cities. A river that is blocked creates floods in one place and drought in another. The movement of wealth is meant to bring balance, nourishing lives, creating opportunities, building communities. The giver becomes a channel through which the abundance of life expresses itself. To refuse to give is to step outside of alignment with this universal principle. Even in the smallest act of giving, the law is present. A kind word given in sincerity may open doors of friendship that lead to unexpected blessings. A meal shared with another may ripple into gratitude that returns in ways unseen. A gift of money, when given without fear, may return in the form of a new opportunity, a profitable idea, or support at the moment it is most needed. Giving sets forces in motion that extend beyond the act itself. Hoarding stops those forces and isolates one from the living flow of prosperity. The heart knows this truth instinctively. There is a natural joy in giving, a sense of expansion, a feeling that life has grown richer in the very act of release. That joy is the soul recognizing alignment with universal law. Fear resists it, whispering that giving diminishes, but truth declares the opposite: giving multiplies. The open hand is never empty for long, for it invites the flow of new supply. The closed fist may seem secure, but it holds only what it already has, and no more can enter. History itself shows that societies that embraced circulation flourished, while those that hoarded crumbled. Cities that traded, shared, and invested in their people grew into centers of prosperity. Those that feared loss, withholding resources and clinging to wealth, became brittle and fell. The law of giving is not limited to individuals, but applies to nations, communities, and generations. Prosperity grows where circulation thrives. To give is also an act of trust. It acknowledges that wealth does not come from the coin in hand, but from the source behind it. The farmer trusts the earth. The sailor trusts the wind. The giver trusts the law of abundance. In that trust, doors open that would otherwise remain shut. Opportunities appear, assistance arrives, and wealth takes forms beyond expectation. Hoarding, by contrast, is an act of distrust, a denial of the infinite nature of supply. It limits vision, closes doors, and creates the very scarcity it fears. There is also an unseen dimension to giving. The energy of generosity multiplies in ways the mind cannot track. A gift given in love carries with it a vibration that attracts further love. An offering made in faith carries a magnetic quality that draws opportunities into the giver's life. Circulation is not merely physical but spiritual, touching realms beyond what the eye can measure. Wealth flows not just through currency, but through ideas, connections, inspiration, and timing. Giving activates this unseen network of return. Water does not ask where it flows, nor demand assurance that it will return. It pours itself out, knowing the cycle is eternal. In this, it teaches the law of giving. Wealth must move. It must be shared, invested, released into circulation. To do so is to honor the truth that abundance was never meant to stagnate. Every act of giving is like casting bread upon the waters, certain that it will return in multiplied form, carried by currents unseen. The more freely one gives, the more freely one receives, for life itself delights in circulation, and wealth is its instrument. Adaptability invites unexpected prosperity. Life, like water, does not demand rigid conformity but rewards flexibility and openness. Water flows effortlessly around obstacles, finding its path even when rocks block the way, cliffs rise before it, or valleys twist its course. It does not resist, it adjusts. It does not fret over how the journey will unfold, it simply moves, and in doing so sustains life wherever it travels. Wealth, like water, comes most easily to those who can adapt to circumstances, who are willing to flow with change, and who trust that the channels of opportunity can take forms beyond expectation. Resistance limits movement, but adaptability opens doors, creates pathways, and allows blessings to appear in forms that the rigid mind could never anticipate. When one clings too tightly to a single idea of what wealth should look like, one closes off the avenues through which prosperity might flow. The coin in hand, the job title, the fixed plan, the rigid schedule, these may all serve as obstacles if held with attachment. Life, in its infinite intelligence, delivers abundance in ways that the narrow mind might initially overlook. A change in career, a new friendship, an unexpected investment, a sudden move. All can bring wealth in ways that obey the universal law of supply, yet bypass the rigid expectations of the ego. Flexibility allows one to recognize these channels and step into them, whereas rigidity blocks the flow. Consider the river once again. It does not collapse when a boulder falls in its path. Instead, it curves, bends, and flows around, under, or even over the obstruction. It adjusts without hesitation, without complaint, without doubt. The river's flexibility is what allows it to reach the sea. In the same manner, prosperity flows to those who can adapt their plans, shift their perspectives, and embrace change without fear. Wealth often arrives in forms that are not immediately recognizable. Only a mind trained in adaptability can perceive the hidden gifts, opportunities, and unexpected avenues that life presents. Adaptability also requires courage. To release a fixed idea of what is necessary or acceptable is to step into uncertainty. Many fear the unknown, preferring the comfort of routine or the illusion of control. Yet the law of abundance requires movement, not stagnation, and life rewards the bold who can bend without breaking. The person who clings to outdated strategies, insists on one way of achieving success, or resists innovation may find wealth elusive, for prosperity is dynamic, ever-changing, and often appears in forms that challenge preconceived notions. Flexibility is not compromise, it is alignment with the flow of life. In practical terms, adaptability can take many forms. It may mean learning new skills to meet changing demands, shifting investments in response to economic currents, or approaching problems with creative solutions rather than fixed routines. It may involve changing one's mindset about what constitutes success, recognizing that wealth is not confined to material possessions, but may appear as knowledge, health, influence, or relationships. Each time one adjusts to circumstances rather than resisting them, one opens the door for unexpected prosperity to enter. Resistance, by contrast, creates friction that slows or halts the flow. The principle extends beyond personal action into relationships and communities. Businesses that thrive are those that respond to market shifts, consumer preferences, and technological innovation. Communities that prosper adapt to changing environmental, social, and economic conditions. Inflexibility leads to decline, whereas responsiveness and adaptability bring opportunity and growth. The same law applies individually. Those who embrace change, who adjust their attitudes, behaviors, and strategies, attract resources, ideas, and partnerships that they could not have anticipated. Adaptability also fosters creativity, which is a hidden form of wealth. When one is open to change, new ideas arise naturally. One sees solutions that were previously invisible, discovers opportunities in challenges, and turns obstacles into stepping stones. Wealth is not only a function of what is already known or possessed, but also of the ability to perceive and act upon possibilities. The adaptive mind is like a fertile field ready to receive seeds from unexpected sources. Rigidity is like barren soil, closed off to the flow of inspiration. Even in financial matters, the principle is clear. Investments that are diversified, plans that include contingencies, and approaches that allow for adjustment are more likely to yield returns than rigid, single-minded strategies. Opportunities often appear when least expected. A sudden offer, a chance meeting, a pivot in the market, and only those prepared to adapt can take full advantage. To insist that wealth must come through one narrow channel is to block other avenues and limit the potential for abundance. Flexibility creates room for surprise, serendipity, and expansion. The spiritual dimension of adaptability is equally powerful. Life rewards the flexible heart that can let go of attachment, release judgment, and accept the unknown. Wealth is not always in the form of material gain. It can appear as peace, joy, insight, or relationships. By being adaptable in expectation and open to life's unfolding, one allows these non-material forms of abundance to flow as freely as money or possessions. Resistance, worry, or insistence on a fixed form limits the richness of experience, while adaptability allows all forms of wealth to manifest. Even adversity contains the seed of prosperity when met with flexibility. A sudden loss, a change in circumstances, or a challenge that seems insurmountable can redirect the flow of life toward new avenues. Like water navigating a rocky gorge, those who bend with circumstances discover hidden streams, fertile valleys, and new routes to abundance. Those who resist become trapped, their energy dissipated in fruitless struggle, while those who adapt harness the same situation to create opportunity, growth, and reward. The law of adaptability emphasizes that prosperity is not a fixed destination but a dynamic flow. The mind that is willing to pivot, the heart that can release rigid expectations, and the hand that can take new forms of action align with life's current. Just as water nourishes every valley, it touches without demanding the landscape change to suit it. Wealth flows to those who can adjust without losing essence. Flexibility is not submission, it is mastery of circumstance. A conscious choice to work with life rather than against it, and the secret pathway through which unexpected prosperity travels. Through adaptability, the mind learns to see beyond limitation, the heart learns to embrace uncertainty, and the spirit discovers the endless avenues through which life expresses abundance. The one who can flow, bend, and adjust in alignment with opportunity does not merely survive. They thrive in ways that the rigid, the fearful, and the resistant cannot imagine. Each obstacle becomes a lesson, each challenge a guide, and each change a portal to wealth in forms that defy expectation. Clearing thoughts creates channels for supply. The mind, like a riverbed, must be free from obstruction for abundance to flow. When fear, doubt, resentment, or anger fill the mental landscape, wealth encounters resistance, and the current of prosperity slows or diverts entirely. Just as water cannot pass through a clogged channel, opportunities and blessings cannot reach the one whose mind is congested with negative thought patterns. The first step toward wealth is therefore not external effort alone, but internal clearing. A mind uncluttered, calm, and expectant becomes a natural conduit for abundance, drawing resources, ideas, and circumstances with ease and clarity. Thoughts are the invisible architecture through which the flow of supply travels. Every limiting belief acts as a dam, stopping the circulation of wealth. I am not enough. There is never enough. I do not deserve this. These statements form mental blockages that prevent resources from arriving. Each thought carries energy, and the repeated reinforcement of limitation shapes the environment to reflect those beliefs. Clearing the mind does not mean ignoring reality. It means aligning with the principle that the universe is abundant, and that supply is always available for those whose minds are open and receptive. Gratitude is one of the most effective tools for clearing the mental channels. When one focuses on what is already present and expresses appreciation, the mind shifts from scarcity to abundance. Gratitude acts like a gentle current, washing away the debris of negative thinking and opening space for new wealth to flow. The person who maintains a mental practice of acknowledgement and thanks finds that opportunities present themselves naturally, ideas appear, and help arrives in ways previously unseen. Without gratitude, even favorable circumstances may go unnoticed, and the channels remain partially blocked by the murk of discontent and complaint. Forgiveness is another essential aspect of clearing thoughts. Harboring resentment, anger, or judgment creates internal turbulence that blocks the smooth flow of prosperity. Just as a river slowed by fallen branches loses momentum and energy, the mind burdened with grudges resists the natural movement of supply. To forgive is to remove these obstructions, to allow energy to circulate freely, and to make room for blessings to enter. Forgiveness does not condone harm, it simply releases the mind from holding on to what no longer serves, creating space for new abundance to manifest. Visualization and focused intention also serve as tools for clearing the channels of thought. By picturing the desired outcome clearly and consistently, one aligns mental energy with the reality they wish to create. A clear image of wealth, success, or opportunity acts like a straight, open channel, allowing the currents of supply to move unhindered. Confusion, uncertainty, or vague intentions act as twists and turns in the channel, dissipating energy and slowing the flow. The power of focused thought lies in its ability to carve a path through the subconscious mind, removing obstacles and directing the current of abundance where it is most effective. Self-talk shapes the flow as well. The language one uses internally sets the tone for external manifestation. Words of limitation or fear constrict the mind's openness to supply. Positive, affirming language opens the mental space, much like clearing debris from a river but allows water to move freely. Statements such as, "I am capable of abundance," "Opportunities flow to me easily," and "I am worthy of prosperity," are not merely motivational. They are practical instruments for maintaining clear channels through which wealth can pass. The repetition of such affirmations strengthens the mental pathways, ensuring that supply meets no resistance. Mental clutter, doubt, and indecision act as sediments in the river of thought, slowing the current and creating turbulence. To clear these sediments, one must practice discernment, choosing which ideas, influences, and priorities to allow in the mind. Not every worry, not every opinion, not every fear requires attention. By letting go of unnecessary mental weight, the flow of wealth becomes stronger and more direct. This discipline of mental selection and focus ensures that resources are drawn efficiently and effectively, without wasted effort or misdirection. Meditation and reflection serve to clear and deepen the channels of thought. When the mind is quieted, free from constant chatter and distraction, one becomes aware of hidden blockages and can release them consciously. Meditation allows insight into the ways limiting beliefs shape behavior and perception, enabling corrective action. As the mind gains clarity, intuition becomes stronger and opportunities for wealth become more apparent. The stillness of a clear mind mirrors the smooth surface of a pond, reflecting abundance without distortion and attracting circumstances that align with that clarity. The principle extends to habits and routines as well. Mental and emotional clutter often stems from chaotic lifestyles, poor organization, or scattered attention. By cultivating habits that promote clarity, regular planning, reflection, prioritization, and rest, the mind remains open to the flow of supply. A structured and harmonious inner life translates into an external reality in which wealth is more easily recognized and captured. Just as a well-maintained channel allows water to move without obstruction, disciplined routines enable the natural circulation of abundance to continue uninterrupted. Surroundings influence mental clarity too. The environment, physical, social, and informational, contributes to the mental currents that either block or facilitate wealth. Surrounding oneself with negativity, conflict, or excessive noise clogs the channels, while environments that inspire, uplift, and support clarity enhance them. Careful attention to the quality of inputs, books, media, relationships, and experiences ensures that the mind remains receptive. Clearing thought involves both internal work and external awareness, creating a holistic space in which supply can flow freely. Faith and expectancy are powerful allies in this process. Belief in the availability of abundance, trust in the mechanisms of supply, and confidence in one's own worth remove unseen barriers. The mind cannot receive fully if it doubts the legitimacy of wealth or fears inadequacy. Faith acts like a cleansing current, sweeping away fear and reinforcing the openness required for prosperity. Expectancy keeps the channels alert, sensitive, and ready to receive, turning potential opportunities into realized blessings. Every act of generosity, kindness, and constructive contribution further clears mental channels. When one gives without fear, the energy of supply is reinforced. The mind, knowing that circulation brings return, releases tension and opens space for new ideas, resources, and opportunities. The more one aligns thought with the principles of flow and clarity, the more seamless the movement of wealth becomes. Each thought, word, and action either contributes to clarity or adds sediment to the channels, and conscious attention to this process ensures the unrestricted flow of supply. To clear thought is to harmonize with the natural law of abundance. The universe flows through mental channels, responding to openness, gratitude, forgiveness, focus, and trust. When these channels are clear, wealth moves as easily as water through an unobstructed river. Blocked thought creates scarcity, resistance, and frustration. Cleared thought creates opportunity, energy, and the effortless arrival of prosperity. A mind uncluttered is like a spring flowing freely, drawing from the infinite reservoir and nourishing life wherever it reaches. Gratitude aligns with the tide of increase. The simple act of recognizing and appreciating what is already present in life opens the mind and heart to receive far more than the eye can see. Gratitude is a powerful magnet for abundance because it shifts focus from scarcity to sufficiency, from lack to plenty. When the mind dwells on what it already possesses, it acknowledges the fullness of life, and in doing so, it signals the universe that it is ready to receive more. The energy of thankfulness is not passive. It is a dynamic force that attracts opportunities, wealth, and blessings in ways that logical planning or effort alone cannot achieve. The principle of gratitude is evident in nature. Trees, animals, and the seasons perform their work in harmony, responding to the cycles of life without complaint, without resistance. The soil receives rainfall, the sun nourishes plants, and each element contributes its part, creating abundance naturally. Humans, too, are designed to thrive when they recognize the gifts that already exist. By focusing on what is present rather than what is missing, the mind removes resistance and opens channels through which the flow of prosperity can move unhindered. Appreciation becomes a key that unlocks doors previously unseen. Gratitude transforms perception. When one sees each circumstance, person, and possession as a gift, the mind shifts from judgment to acceptance, from limitation to possibility. A grateful mindset perceives the hidden opportunities in challenges, the lessons in setbacks, and the value in simple moments. Wealth flows more easily to those who see abundance in the present, for they are no longer creating mental blocks of resistance or fear. Each expression of gratitude strengthens the connection to the universal supply, making it easier for resources to arrive and circulate. Daily practice of gratitude amplifies its effect. Taking time to consciously acknowledge blessings, whether large or small, trains the mind to expect more good in life. A simple routine of reflection, journaling, or spoken acknowledgement creates an internal rhythm that aligns with the law of increase. The mind begins to focus on solutions, possibilities, and the richness already present, rather than on deficits or limitations. This shift in focus alone produces a remarkable change in how abundance manifests, turning potential opportunities into tangible wealth. Gratitude also cultivates faith. When one appreciates what is already available, there is trust that the source of supply is reliable and unending. This faith removes doubt, which is one of the greatest obstacles to wealth. A person who is thankful for what they have implicitly trusts that more is available and that the universe will respond to alignment with its laws. The energy of faith reinforces the power of gratitude, creating a feedback loop in which expectation and appreciation amplify one another, drawing resources, ideas, and opportunities toward the individual. Even in difficult circumstances, gratitude has transformative power. Life does not always present what is desired immediately, yet focusing on what is present allows one to see avenues of increase that would otherwise be hidden. A challenging situation, when approached with thankfulness for the lessons it brings, becomes a stepping stone rather than a barrier. This mindset releases energy trapped in frustration or fear and redirects it toward creative solutions and fruitful action. Wealth is not merely the accumulation of money. It includes insight, opportunity, relationships, and experiences, all of which are attracted more readily when gratitude governs thought. The act of giving naturally flows from gratitude. When one appreciates the abundance already present, there is an impulse to share it with others. This sharing, in turn, circulates wealth and reinforces the principle that prosperity is not finite but dynamic. The energy of giving multiplies what is received, creating a flow of abundance that continually renews itself. Gratitude fuels this process by reminding the giver of the richness that already exists, allowing generosity to come from a place of fullness rather than fear. Each act of giving based on thankfulness becomes a channel through which more wealth is drawn into life. Gratitude also aligns the mind with opportunities that might otherwise go unnoticed. When a person is focused on appreciation, they become more sensitive to possibilities, relationships, and solutions that can enhance prosperity. A grateful mind notices doors opening, ideas arriving, and people willing to assist. In contrast, a mind that dwells on lack often misses these subtle signals, trapped in a narrow perspective. Thankfulness expands perception, enabling one to recognize and seize opportunities that are aligned with their desires and the natural flow of increase. In addition, gratitude enhances resilience. Life is full of uncertainties, and the path to wealth often involves challenges. Those who maintain gratitude remain grounded and centered even in the face of setbacks. By focusing on what is working and what is already abundant, the mind avoids being overwhelmed by obstacles and instead channels energy toward constructive action. This mental state is fertile for wealth creation because it combines optimism, focus, and alignment with the laws of abundance, producing outcomes that are both unexpected and substantial. Gratitude also attracts cooperation and assistance. People naturally respond to those who express genuine appreciation. Relationships flourish when gratitude is expressed, creating networks of support and collaboration that contribute to prosperity. The energy of thankfulness communicates openness and receptivity, inviting others to participate in the flow of abundance. In both personal and professional life, gratitude strengthens bonds, builds trust, and enhances the exchange of resources, all of which are essential for the continuous increase of wealth. The spiritual dimension of gratitude cannot be overlooked. Thankfulness aligns the individual with the infinite source of abundance. By acknowledging and appreciating what already exists, the mind harmonizes with the universal law that supplies all needs. This alignment opens channels that are otherwise blocked by fear, doubt, or attachment. The act of gratitude itself carries an energetic frequency that resonates with the rhythm of increase, drawing more of the same into the individual's life. The more consistently gratitude is practiced, the more natural and effortless the flow of wealth becomes, as the mind, heart, and spirit move in harmony with the principles of universal supply. Gratitude, when cultivated as a habitual attitude, transforms life into a magnet for wealth in all forms. It is not merely a polite acknowledgement, but a powerful tool that clears mental, emotional, and spiritual channels for abundance. Each expression of thankfulness reinforces the belief in sufficiency, encourages giving, enhances perception, and strengthens resilience. It creates a fertile environment where opportunities, resources, and ideas can enter freely, multiply, and return, feeding a cycle of continual increase. The practice of gratitude is therefore both a conscious discipline and a natural state that aligns the individual with the infinite tide of supply, ensuring that wealth is recognized, welcomed, and fully received. Every moment spent in genuine appreciation strengthens the alignment with the law of increase. The mind trained to see gifts in all circumstances is naturally open to new forms of wealth. It notices opportunities where others see obstacles, perceives solutions where others see problems, and attracts the support, guidance, and resources necessary to transform potential into reality. The energy of gratitude moves through thought, action, and intention, creating a dynamic flow that continuously reinforces and expands prosperity. The ripple effect of gratitude extends far beyond the individual. Families, communities, and even broader networks benefit when people practice thankfulness, for the energy of appreciation generates cooperation, kindness, and resourcefulness. Gratitude not only attracts wealth to the individual, but enhances the environment in which abundance can multiply. The act of recognizing blessings, expressing thanks, and sharing generously aligns one with a universal rhythm of increase, making prosperity both inevitable and continuous.
Beloved, money is never absent in spirit. What looks like lack in the outer world is only an illusion. At the very moment you think you have nothing, heaven has already prepared your supply. But here is the truth many forget. Supply does not come through worry, through panic, or through fear. Supply answers only to faith, and faith speaks through words. Your words are not empty sounds. They are commands written upon the air. When you declare lack, you build lack. When you declare abundance, you open the gates of provision. The world may say, "You are broke." But heaven says, "You are provided for." The choice of which voice you agree with rests upon your tongue. I tell you today, when you do not have money, you are not helpless. You are not abandoned. You are one decree away from turning the tide. One spoken word of faith can cancel 1,000 fears. 4 words, spoken with conviction, can shift the atmosphere around you. These 4 words are not a formula. They are not a trick. They are truth itself. Speak them, believe them, feel them, and supply must obey. Beloved, lean in, for I will reveal them to you. And once you know, you will never look at lack the same again. Beloved, words are the substance of creation. Every tree, every star, every breath of wind was first spoken into existence by the Word. The Bible declares, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." If all that exists was born from a word, how much more must your daily words shape the life you live? When you do not have money, the temptation is to say what you see. "I am broke. I cannot afford this. I never have enough." But hear me, those words are not innocent. They are decrees. Each time you speak them, you call lack into your atmosphere. Your tongue is the pen, and your life is the paper. What you write upon it, you must read. What you speak into it, you must live. This is why so many live in cycles of shortage. They pray for provision, yet every hour they confess lack. They ask for abundance, yet with their next breath they declare poverty. Spirit cannot contradict your own decree. Heaven moves in agreement with faith, not fear. And every careless word is a seed planted in the soil of your subconscious. Sow broke, and you will reap broke. Sow never enough, and you will reap never enough. A Florence Scovel Shin said, "Man can change his conditions by changing his words." She did not say by force, or by struggle, or by endless worry. She said by words. Because words are not small things, beloved. Words are vibrations, and vibration attracts form. Speak of shortage, and shortage is drawn to you. Speak of supply, and supply finds you without delay. Think of it this way. Your words are like doors. Each one you speak either opens a door to blessing or bolts it shut. When you say, "I cannot afford it," you slam a door in the face of opportunity. When you say, "I never have enough," you lock yourself out of abundance. But when you say, "God is my supply," you throw open the gates of heaven. You allow provision to march in because your word aligns with divine law. Let me give you a picture. Imagine standing in a garden with a watering can in your hand. Each word you speak is a drop of water. If you water weeds, worry, fear, doubt, they will grow taller, faster, stronger. But if you water seeds of truth, faith, abundance, prosperity, those flowers will bloom. The garden does not choose for you. The soil does not argue. It simply grows what you plant. So it is with life. Your life does not argue with your words. It multiplies them. Beloved, I ask you, what are you watering each day? Are you feeding the weeds of lack with constant worry, constant talk of shortage, constant sighs of defeat, or are you watering the seeds of abundance with decrees of faith? Now hear me clearly. This is not about pretending you have money you do not see. It is about choosing which reality you will align with, the temporary illusion of lack or the eternal truth of supply. When you say, "I am broke," you bow before the illusion. When you say, "God is my supply," you align with eternal truth. One is worship at the altar of fear. The other is worship at the throne of faith. And do not say, "But Florence, I must be realistic." Beloved, what is reality? Is it the fleeting number on a bank statement, or is it the eternal promise that my God shall supply all your need? Which has more weight, a passing figure or an unbreakable law? Realism is not repeating what fear shows you. Realism is standing on the rock of truth when all else shakes. This is why your words matter most when money is absent. Anyone can speak abundance when the purse is full. True faith is proven when the purse is empty, and yet the tongue declares, "I am rich in spirit, and my supply is on its way." That decree pulls unseen supply into sight. That decree shifts atmosphere, rearranges circumstances, and commands money to appear in perfect timing. So guard your lips, beloved. Speak not lack, even in jest. Speak not shortage, even in passing. Every word is a seed, every word is a decree, every word is a door. And today you must decide which harvest you want to reap, which law you want to enforce, which door you want to open. Let us seal this with practice. Say with me, "I never speak lack. I only speak supply. My words are doors to abundance, and today I open them wide. I decree that money flows to me under grace and in perfect ways." Beloved, we have come to the heart of this message. I told you that when you do not have money, you are not powerless. You are not abandoned. You are not forgotten. You are one decree away from provision, and that decree is captured in 4 simple words. 4 words that turn fear into faith, stress into peace, lack into supply. 4 words that open the windows of heaven and command angels of abundance to move on your behalf. These words are not mine, they are eternal. They are not a trick, they are truth. The 4 words are, "God is my supply." Say them now, slowly, with reverence. God is my supply, not man, not wages, not banks, not circumstances, not luck, not chance. God is my supply. The moment these words leave your lips with faith, the atmosphere begins to shift. Fear loosens its grip, stress weakens, doubt trembles, for you have turned your attention away from the illusion of lack and fixed it on the eternal source. Most people see money as their supply. They say, "If only I had more money, I would be safe." But money is not the source. It is only a channel. Channels may open and close, but the source never runs dry. If one door shuts, another opens. If one stream ends, another begins. You are never without because God is your supply and God is endless. The Apostle Paul declared, "My God shall supply all your need according to his riches in glory by Christ Jesus." Notice, he did not say some of your need. He did not say only the small needs. He said all your need. That means bills, debts, rent, food, clothing, opportunities. All are included in all. And how are they supplied? Not by the limits of earth, but by the riches of heaven. That is why the 4 words carry such weight. They remind you that supply is not bound by numbers on a screen or dollars in a wallet. Supply comes from a source greater than banks, greater than jobs, greater than governments. Florence Scovel Shin taught that when you say, God is my supply, you cut off the cords of fear that tie you to man as your source. You release the stress of thinking you must figure it all out yourself. You rest in the knowledge that Spirit already knows your need, already prepared your answer, already sent your supply. These words shift the burden from your shoulders to the everlasting arms. Now let me show you how to use them. Do not whisper them with doubt. Do not mumble them as a last resort. Speak them with authority. Each time a bill arrives, lay your hand upon it and declare, God is my supply. Each time you feel the pang of fear about money, stop and say aloud, God is my supply. Each morning before you face the world, speak into the air around you, God is my supply. And do not only say them, feel them. Let peace rise in your chest as you declare them. Let the tension leave your shoulders as you remember you are not your own provider. Let joy bubble up as you realize that money is not your master, God is. And God is generous, faithful, unchanging, abundant. Beloved, I tell you, this one soul who declares, God is my supply, with faith can change their entire destiny. Doors will open that seemed shut. Unexpected money will appear in perfect timing. Opportunities will chase you down. People will bless you without knowing why. Why? Because your decree shifts your vibration, and the law of attraction answers it. Fear attracts lack, but faith attracts supply. These 4 words are your key. Repeat them until they become your instinct. Say them when fear rises in the night. Say them when doubt whispers in the morning. Say them when others around you complain of shortage. While the world speaks of recession, you speak of supply. While others say, we are broke, you say, God is my supply. While the outer world shakes, you stand unshaken, because your source is eternal. So let us speak it now as a decree, not once, but 3 times to seal it. God is my supply. God is my supply. God is my supply. And so it is. Beloved, words alone are mighty, but when words are clothed in vision and feeling, they become unstoppable. The 4 words, God is my supply, carry the full force of heaven, yet to speak them without vision is like planting a seed and never watering it. To speak them with vision and feeling is to watch that seed sprout, bloom, and bear fruit. So let us go deeper. The moment you say, God is my supply, close your eyes and see it. See yourself surrounded not by lack, but by light. See streams of golden abundance flowing toward you from every direction. Unexpected checks in the mail, opportunities opening like flowers, bills stamped paid in full. Picture your wallet not empty but full. See your bank account not dwindling but multiplying. As you speak, paint pictures on the canvas of your mind that agree with your decree. Florence Scovel Shin said, man can only receive what he sees himself receiving. This is why many prayers go unanswered. They beg for abundance but inwardly picture lack. They speak words of prosperity but still see themselves as poor. Their words and their visions are divided, and a divided house cannot stand. But when your word and your vision are one, manifestation must follow. So let us practice together. Say aloud, God is my supply. Now close your eyes and imagine yourself walking into a store without worry. You see what you desire, you purchase it with peace, you walk out with joy. There is no anxiety, no doubt, no heaviness, only freedom. Now say again, God is my supply. This time, imagine sitting at your table, bills before you. One by one, you see them stamped paid in full. Relief washes over you. Your shoulders drop, your chest opens, your heart rests. That is the feeling of truth taking root. Beloved, the mind is a projector. Whatever film you place inside it, life will play upon the screen of your affairs. If you run reels of lack, life will show lack. If you play reels of provision, life will show provision. This is why visualization is holy work. It is not fantasy, it is prophecy. It is the rehearsal of faith until faith becomes fact. The more vividly you see it, the faster it comes. Feel the weight of money in your hands. Hear the sound of gratitude in your voice as you say, thank you, God. My supply is endless. Smell the freshness of freedom when you know every need is met. Taste the sweetness of life without stress. Do not leave any sense untouched. Let your entire being agree with your decree. And let gratitude be your seal. Gratitude is proof of belief. You do not thank for what you doubt. You thank for what you know is yours. Each time you say, God is my supply, follow it with a simple, thank you. Thank you that it is done. Thank you that I am provided for. Thank you that supply flows now. Gratitude is the final brushstroke that completes the painting. Beloved, this practice is not to be done once and forgotten. It must become your rhythm. In the morning, before your feet touch the floor, declare, God is my supply, and see your day unfolding in abundance. During the day, whenever stress arises, pause, speak the 4 words, and replace the picture of lack with a vision of overflow. At night before sleep, whisper, God is my supply, and drift into dreams where every need is already met. If you do this faithfully, you will notice a shift. The anxiety will fade, replaced by calm. The panic will dissolve, replaced by peace, and soon the outer world will rearrange itself to match the inner truth. Opportunities will appear. Money will arrive. Solutions will present themselves. For the law is unbreakable as within, so without. So let us seal this section with a decree of vision. Place your hand over your heart, close your eyes, and say slowly, God is my supply. I see myself rich. I see myself free. I see my bills paid, my wallet full, my bank account overflowing. I feel peace in my soul, joy in my heart, and abundance in my life. God is my supply, and I am provided for under grace and in perfect ways. Say it until the picture becomes more real than the fear. For the picture you hold is the life you will live. Beloved, truth is not a one-time act, it is a daily walk. Just as you eat daily to sustain your body, so must you speak and decree daily to sustain your spirit. The 4 words, God is my supply, are not meant to be spoken once and forgotten. They are your bread, your water, your shield, your sword. The more you repeat them with faith, the more they saturate your subconscious until fear has no place to hide. Florence Scovel Shin often said, your word is your wand. But a wand in the drawer has no power. It must be lifted, swung, and used. In the same way, your daily practice of affirmations is the lifting of your wand, the wielding of your authority, the aligning of your life with divine law. So let us make a pattern. In the morning, before the noise of the world begins, rise and speak these 4 words aloud 3 times. God is my supply. God is my supply. God is my supply. Do not rush them. Speak slowly with reverence, as though angels are listening, and they are. As you speak, see your day unfolding in provision. Picture yourself walking in peace, every need met before it arises. This is how you clothe yourself for the day, not only with garments but with decree. During the day, carry these words as a shield. When fear whispers, answer at once. When doubt knocks, respond with certainty. If you are at the grocery store and worry stirs, pause and say softly, God is my supply. If you see a bill and feel panic rise, place your hand upon it and declare, God is my supply. Each repetition drives the truth deeper, like hammering a nail into solid wood until it holds firm. You may even create variations of the decree to keep your practice alive and flowing. God is my supply, and my supply is endless. God is my supply, and my money comes under grace. God is my supply, and I never stress about money. God is my supply, and all my needs are already met. But each variation is like a different note in the same melody. Together they form a song of abundance that plays in your soul all day long. At night, as you prepare for sleep, let these words be the last upon your lips. God is my supply. Whisper them until your body rests and your spirit drifts into dreams. For even in the night, your subconscious listens, and when it hears faith, it works through the dark hours to arrange your affairs in perfect ways. Many have awakened after such practice to find unexpected provision waiting. Letters in the mail, opportunities offered, money arriving without effort. Why? Because while they rested, their decree was working. Beloved, do not underestimate the power of consistency. A single seed planted may sprout, but a garden watered daily will bloom in beauty. A word spoken once may inspire, but a word spoken daily will transform. The more you repeat, the stronger the truth becomes in you, until fear cannot find entry and stress has no foothold. Make these 4 words your rhythm. Write them upon slips of paper and place them where your eyes will fall, on your mirror, your desk, your wallet. Record them in your voice and play them as you drive. Whisper them under your breath as you walk. Let no day pass without hearing them in your own voice, for your own voice carries the most authority over your subconscious. And remember, beloved, this practice is not begging God to give you something He has withheld. It is reminding yourself of what has always been true. You are not trying to convince God. You are convincing your own heart. God has never stopped being your supply. Only fear blinded you. Only stress deceived you. Only doubt whispered otherwise. Each repetition of these 4 words clears away the illusion and reveals the truth. So let us seal this practice now with decree. Place your hand upon your heart and say aloud, God is my supply. I rise in supply. I walk in supply. I sleep in supply. I am never late. I am never lacking. For my supply is endless, secure, and always on time. God is my supply, and I am rich in faith, rich in peace, rich in provision. Speak this morning and night in calm and storm, in need and in plenty. Make it your breath, your song, your shield. And soon you will see that the words were never empty. They were law, waiting to be spoken. Beloved, we have walked the path together. We have unmasked stress as a false god, exposed fear as inverted faith, and revealed the power of decree. We have spoken of the law of substitution. We have painted visions of overflow. We have practiced daily affirmations. And now we arrive at the summit, the final decree. This is the moment you seal the truth upon your heart so deeply that no whisper of lack can uproot it. The 4 words you have learned, God is my supply, are not a charm, not a trick, not an empty phrase. They are eternal law. They are a covenant between your soul and spirit. They are the key that unlocks every door, the staff that parts every sea, the light that dissolves every shadow of lack. When you speak them, you do not speak as a beggar. You speak as a child of the King. When you decree them, you do not plead for scraps. You claim the banquet already prepared for you before the foundation of the world. So let us lift our voices now in decree. Say with me, slowly, firmly, with authority, God is my supply. My supply is endless, secure, and always on time. I do not fear lack, for lack is an illusion. I do not bow to stress, for stress is a false master. I walk in peace, I walk in abundance, I walk in divine provision. God is my supply, and money comes to me easily, effortlessly, and under grace. Every bill is paid, every need is met, every desire is fulfilled in perfect ways. Pause, breathe, and feel it. Let the words settle into your chest like anchors of truth. Stress may knock at the door tomorrow, but your decree will answer. Doubt may whisper in the night, but your decree will silence it. Fear may try to paint shadows, but your decree will flood them with light. Beloved, decree is more than sound. It is a shift of ownership. When you say, God is my supply, you hand over the burden of provision to the source that never fails. You lay down the heavy yoke of self-reliance and take up the light yoke of faith. You step out of anxiety and into alignment, out of stress and into rest, out of fear and into certainty. And let us go further. Let us decree not only for this moment, but for every moment to come. Say with me, God is my supply in the morning when I rise. God is my supply in the day as I work. God is my supply in the night as I rest. God is my supply when bills arrive. God is my supply when opportunities appear. God is my supply in lean times and in times of plenty. God is my supply yesterday, today, and forevermore. Do you feel the power of repetition? Each line carves deeper grooves of truth into your mind. Each decree clears away the weeds of fear and plants seeds of faith. Soon, those seeds will sprout, and your life will overflow with visible proof of what your words have declared. Now, beloved, hear me clearly. The decree does not mean you will never face a bill, never see a challenge, never meet a moment of uncertainty. But it does mean that in every situation, you will stand unshaken. For your source is not the bill, your source is God. Your source is not the challenge, your source is God. Your source is not the shifting winds of circumstance. Your source is the unchanging fountain of spirit. So go forth with confidence. When others complain of shortage, let your lips declare, God is my supply. When the world trembles in fear of recession, let your heart rest in abundance. When you feel the old reflex of worry rise, stop it at once with your decree. Do not wrestle with shadows. Shine the light of truth until they flee. Let us seal this message one final time. Say with me with authority and conviction, God is my supply. I am rich in faith, rich in peace, rich in provision. My supply is endless, my prosperity secure, my abundance flowing. I never stress about money, for I live under grace and in perfect ways. God is my supply now and forevermore. And so it is. Beloved, walk from this place in peace. Walk as one who is already provided for. Walk as one who has released stress, released fear, released lack. For the decree has gone forth, and it will not return void. Money is on its way. Supply is flowing now. And every step you take is surrounded by the truth that cannot be broken. God is your supply, and so